Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode number 291. With me, George, and this week joined by a returning and triumphant Triple S. He's the indie darling to my indeed darling. How's it going, Triple S?
Man, it is going. It's so glad to be back amongst you people, amongst the people that I feel like are family to me. You know, it's one of those things to where I'm back home at the UCP, and I'm so glad to be here.
Well, like a prodigal son, like a brother, let me cup you in my bosom, because there's nothing that brings people closer. No, it's true, Triple S, it's true. There's nothing that brings people closer than a shared trauma. I think now that you're kind of clear of the Pastor Longhorn cult movement that we all got ourselves wrapped up in, a little bit more of a return to normal Triple S. I have to admit, the sort of insane sort of sermons you were giving round the back of the toilets and whatnot wasn't much. But we're all back video game now. Absolutely, here we are. You've come back from your rehab from PTSD. I worked through it. I wouldn't advise it. I think it's been a rocky road. But it's good to see.
I still get the twitches and triggers every time I see a turnip, a turnip with mayonnaise, where it's like I can't look those in the eye. And I'm like,
Well, this is a bit of a bizarre story, because you talked about Sweet Baby Ray's at one point in time as well. I do believe it's a barbecue sauce. Well, I now know it is. You talked about sweet Baby Ray, and I was like, yeah, just sort of going along with it. I didn't really know. And I was at a friend of mine house, and I walked through his kitchen, and out on the side counter was this sweet Baby Ray, and I was like, dude, what is this? And he's like, it's just barbecue sauce with sweet Baby Ray. Wow, it's real.
Okay. It's real. It was like the metaverse has come to life.
Yeah, it really was. Real. I thought Pastor's just crossed over to physical, solid reality. I didn't really quite know what I was looking at. Let's answer the question. Let's ask the question that everybody's wondering. How are you keeping? What have you been up to? And really then, let's just do a light touch of what you've been playing. Are there any standouts, or what you got your fingers on?
I'm trying to remember since the last time I've been on the show, man. It's been a lot. It's been really cool. Life's been going well. Me, the missus, the dog, we've all been doing the normal life thing. So no major changes in life. It's just kind of been a busy cycle of everything that's going on. And then outside of that, though, we've here in Texas, it's just absolute insanity. Sports driving me up the wall. It's the best time in sports, because you got your baseball, you got the playoffs going on right now, you got football is in full swing season, and then basketball just started up. So I'm eating good there. Video games, it's been fun. Like many people, I think I've been questioning who I am as a gamer, because, the current economic landscape, the bad news and upon bad news of like what's been going on in video games has kind of made everyone kind of either get more staunch in their current, habits and beliefs as far as video games, or question everything there is to do. Like, who am I as a gamer? And I've kind of gone through that existential crisis as well. So, yeah, it's been a rocky road in video games, especially like it feels like I've been taking Psychology 101 in video games again this year. And that's been sort of up and down, but I've come out to the other side really understanding and this part of the journey of my life of who I am as a gamer. And I've like really appreciated that time. But as far as what I've been playing, it's like I've been doing this project, on my own show, the Single Player Experience, where I've been talking about like mostly indie titles and other sort of single player video games that I've been talking about. And right now I'm working on a project where it's the single player power rankings, and it's basically Yeah, so I'm basically doing almost like an ESPN style thing of where I'm going to be ranking and telling each person, each listener, what the best video games are, from the first place all the way to probably the 10th place, and we'll talk about everything in between, giving you the power rankings. And of course, games come out so rapidly that the power rankings could change. It's all,
Yeah.
as Stephen A. Smith would say, it's all fluid. It's all fluid. But the
That's an unsteady dance platform to kick a gig off on. It could be changing from day to day.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, it's weird because like especially in the indie scape, like I have in my mind, I've always separated lately indie versus AAA of like video games, and it's becoming so weird to me because like my appetite has been leaning so far at indie experiences this year because like those have been punching above their weight class. I would probably say just overall, not even just separating them. I would probably say unequivocally, like the top 10 games this year, I would probably say at least five of those are indie games.
What's
Hollow
the top
Knight.
three? Yes, given to us.
Yeah, I would say Hollow Knight Silk Song is there with a bullet. Expedition 33 indie game, there with a bullet. I would say Hades 2, is there with a bullet. I
Yeah.
would probably say those three. I would be shocked if those three games at the Game Awards at the end of the year with Jeff Keighley, if they're not in the Game of the Year discussion at
I,
this point.
I, you know, I'm not in disagreement with you, but I wonder if, because time has been funny this year,
It really
Expedition
has.
33 doesn't feel like it came out in 2025.
It is funny, but then like you hear you hear the swell. It's like a resurgence of that game is starting to like swell up again because like Halloween is almost upon us here. A lot of people are talking about dressing as like different characters from there, and
Mm.
then like there's a weird thing where like a lot of the game awards for this year happened, are starting to happen earlier for
Yeah.
some reason. And Expedition 33 has already won like one game of the year title overseas in I think it was in an Asian market.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm like they're already doing numbers there, and it's like they had such goodwill as far as like the studio had such goodwill. They are saying the right things, and whereas everyone else in kind of like is delivering bad messaging around video games, they're still like the crowning favorites of like, oh, we made this game on a budget. That's what everyone's preaching right now. It's like
Mm.
make video games on a budget. We don't necessarily need the highest AAA graphics. You just need good story, good voice acting, good gameplay. So I'm like, they sort of have like this supernatural like feeling around them to where like everyone just loves them even if you didn't love the game. They love that studio, they love the
Yeah.
messaging around it. I
They've
would be
been
shocked if
since
that
they
didn't
kind
win.
of since the game launched. I think the messaging from them has been really well managed, stage managed. I think it's been on point. It seemed to hit every narrative. It ticked every good feeling box along the way in terms of like the voice cast, etc., and the way the game came together. Um, if a game is deserving of the golden gong at the end of a year, if ever there was a kind of a Ponzi in the making, you'd think it'd be that. Knowing us, while probably putting Infamous 2 as my game of the year or something, Triple S, you know what
Jeez. Infamous 2.
I'm like. That's how crazy I am. But yeah, and quite deserving. That would be, not that it's not had the success story, but that would be then quite the success story for that studio, and then the journey that they've been on of not redemption, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, for
They've
sure.
come from
It's
other
like
studios and they've
it's
made
the
their own
ascension,
product. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the kind of phoenix in a way from the flames of you know the largest studio. I think it was Ubisoft, wasn't it? That they
It
kind of
was Ubisoft. A lot of
fractured
those
from.
developers came from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because once again, Ubisoft's not short of good ideas. What they're short of more often than not is time. Um,
And bad management, man. That management,
well, thing is, it is an old company now. If you think about it, yes, it's been
it
flipped
is.
around and whatnot, but it has been around since the very early days of home video gaming. So they're probably always was going to be a little bit of a thread of that in there. There's no excuse, obviously, but you know, it's a very old company, a European company, I think, primarily. But anyway, we get lost in the weeds a little bit there. But yeah, good to hear our indie guru coming back from his, I don't know, sort of 30 days fast in the desert of gaming, really, comes back out with some absolutely banging suggestions, which I have to love. Anything else?
What have you been playing, man?
Oh dear. What, since you last saw me or just recently? I think we'll do just recently for the
Just recently, yeah.
for the fans. Well, up until very recently, I've been playing a lot of No Man's Sky, guilty pleasure of mine, as you know, and I've gone back to it with the Corvettes and probably sank another 100 hours into it, dude. Easily.
Wow.
Just chasing that dragon, mate. I'll be honest. Things got a little bit freaky. At night time, round the George household, I have to admit, I just sort of sunk into my chair, picked up my controller, chased this rare wing that I needed to make my dream ship come true. And
PS5 is the version you're playing?
Yeah. And I've been in and out of VR with it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Don't.
Got to use that headset some way.
That's what I thought. Every time I look at it, you're like that. Just sort of little miniature version of you just sat on the edge of it going...
Very much
right.
so. Got to use it
All right.
somehow.
All right, Triple S. All right. I saw it. I wanted it. I didn't realise it'd be this bob. I basically got it for a kayaking simulator and spacewalk experience. I don't know what's going on. As you say, I never make a lot of sense. And then I was rejigging some stuff around, and my older PS3 died, so I pulled the SSD out of it and slapped it into my bulletproof, touch wood to this point, slim, beautiful. Give it a clean charge up all the controllers, and then took my wife on a sort of a whistle-stop tour of some of what the PS3's got to offer.
The greatest hits of the PS3?
Well,
George edition?
Yeah, more like the sloppy mid-card of the PS3. So it was also a route of curiosity for me just to see, because when you put the SSD in a PS3, it does remove some of it does improve the system a lot. And a lot of the sort of more demanding games ended up with a lot of close-in texture pop-in. There was a lot of redraw and other messy bits going on. But when you put an SSD in, that's removed completely. Just that little bit of extra speed, although it's bottlenecked, is enough to allow the console to cover up the crimes of a mechanical SSD, a mechanical hard drive.
Hey,
so,
George, quick question. So this is fascinating, but like just to clarify, you took out the hard drive and you put in an SSD for your PS3, right?
That's correct.
George, this is the starting symptoms of PC gaming.
No.
I'm just being honest.
No.
It sounds like, this is how Anakin's eyes started to get red a little bit, and Tatooine a little bit, I'm just saying.
Well, this is the full... It's not the UCP anymore. It's the UPC. It's the unofficial PC podcast. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, bud, I hate to break it to you, but you're taking a step there.
Well,
putting the SSD into a PS5, I imagine.
Hey, listen, Seb. Left alone to my own devices, my good friend, I will fiddle with any slot I can get my fat fingers into, I'll tell you. And the PS3 was just begging for it. So the SSD, it went in. It's not the first time. I fingered a slightly older version of the PS3 with it as well, but it sadly died. Despite my best efforts to keep it alive, and this thing had more solder on it by the time it was done by professionals, not me, of course. I don't know what the bloody hell I'm doing. I don't know how it even turned on. So it was time to embrace the future. Well, it was time to embrace 2009 anyway, and pull the slim in. So we actually played all the way through and completed, and I'll tell you what, it didn't overstay its welcome. It wasn't absurdly challenging, but it was challenging enough. there was enough of a hook from the storyline, and I'm enough distance past since playing the original where I absolutely loved Infamous 2.
Oh, Cole?
Oh, baby.
Oh, Cole?
You see, if I didn't know if RGT was going to be on, but he's basically Zeke.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I can see that a little bit. I can see that.
Yeah, he's Zeke. But yeah, the graphical improvements, the fact that they use the sort of in-game graphics for the cutscenes just brought you that little bit of extra believability. The fact this thing still looks absolutely solid as a rock. I discounted it when I first played it not that long ago, not on launch, but maybe 2 or 3 years ago after playing the original because it was probably too soon. And I was just a bit burnt out. I have to admit, when this game finished, when I'd finished it, it was a bit like, yeah, I'm glad I'm clear of that. Bounce around some other drivel in there. I won't bore you, but last night we actually pulled out Simpsons Hit and Run and started playing that. And mate,
It's a classic.
It still looks gorgeous.
It's a classic.
It's got this look to it. I'm putting it on through an original PS2 FAT through component, so you can't get a better looking version of it, I suppose, unless you can get it backwards compatible on Xbox Series X or something. But I've not heard it discussed in polite company, so maybe not. And it was fun. It was knockabout. It's obviously aimed at a slightly younger audience, so I was literally blitzing through it like me at a cheese party, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, crumbs of Stilton aside, my good friend Triple S, that's about all I've been doing on the gaming front. My beloved wife has, just to get you up to speed though, has picked up Persona 4 on the Switch 2. Absolutely.
Wait, Switch 2?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So the Switch 1 backward compatible, basically Vita port of Golden. She
Was that a separate purchase, or was that like a 2-in-1 kind of thing? Where you bought
I know there is like a package kicking around on the Switch store right now where you can get you I think it was P3 Fez remake or P3 Mobile 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 5 Royale on card, so that's the one I've got for that. And I think I got probably off the Switch store Golden 4.
Oh, okay.
And she literally off the back of completing on her own the Lord of the Rings. Oh God, there's a turn-based one. The Third Age. She likes Lord of the Rings, and this was like her sort of feed away in, but it's actually turn-based, JRPG basically from start to finish. And she just took to it like a duck to water, absolutely rinsed it. There was a section towards the end where she got trapped, and that was a good thing because it just leveled her up unbelievably. She came out of there like an absolute beast, basically. Way OP, really, for the end of the game and everything. Just literally cakewalked it. And off of that, I said, "Oh well, there is other games like that." And I thought, well, what's? I thought, oh, could Final Fantasy X really scratch that itch? I thought, oh, maybe, but is it similar combat methody? It's the exact same timing loop for the fights as it is in Final Fantasy X. I don't know what came first. More than likely, Final Fantasy X. And then she just ripped into Persona 4 and absolutely, and I mean, mate, obliterated it.
Wow. Is she going to do 5 next?
Oh, mate,
or 3?
5's already cracked wide open like a cannibal brain-eating party.
To me, that's my favorite. That's my favorite Persona.
I wanted to ask you what you've played the new 3, right? The remake of 3. How does that hold up for someone who, well, I think enjoyed 4 and 5? Because 3 was different, mate. I have to say it was different, but I don't know what this remake's like.
It's not bad. I think it's the best way to play 3. I still think
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah, it's the best way to play 3. I think 4 and 5. I think you can maybe do an argument on which one of those has the best story out of the series. But then, I think 5's friendly game first, gameplay, actual like player first features are probably the best out of the series. But then like,
Yes.
and I do think like some of the characters in 4 are great. But then I'm like, 3 has like an old school charm with modern day upgrades that I think makes that game like way more replayable than it ever has been.
Talk to me about the upgrades. What are we talking about?
It's just the simple things of like the Persona 5-ness of like you basically being able to stealth in like I'll call it the underworld. I can't remember what the term was called
Yeah,
in
yeah,
3.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like that's better. The SSD makes the game a lot more faster, chippier, and such like that. It has like
Mm.
more options to where you can, scale the difficulties up a little bit, up and down and all that kind of stuff. I think like the actual combinations that you can do with the personas, I think are a little more like it feels like there are new Persona Beast in there that I don't remember being in 3. But for some
Mm.
reason, like I remember them being in 5, but don't remember them being in 3, if that makes sense. And then I think like they kept true to the nature of like all the confidants and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I think like some of the it feels like they improved like the hub areas and getting around those a little bit more. So I still think that it's a lot more because they tried to stay true to the original vision a little bit. I think it's more clunky than it is in Persona 5, especially. But like getting around the school and getting around the different like districts and such like that feels a lot better to me than it did back in the day as well.
And that fascinates me, and I think you've just confirmed a Christmas present. To be fair, but the I'm interested to know. I find it
I think
interesting that they're going to remake 4 so soon because after playing it myself and obviously watching Rachel play it, I thought to myself, this is not in need of that much attention.
no, neither was what Zelda, Horizon, anything
Oh
else in this
no,
capitalistic
absolutely.
world.
But
Yeah.
I wondered if going all the way back and redoing Persona OG
hmm
would be more beneficial because that could have
I
sculpted how 3 would then look in the end as well. Because
I think the best people or the best companies who've done remakes are obviously I think Capcom, especially with like the way they've methodically done each Resident Evil and like kept it in line, like starting from what was it? I think 2, 3, 4, and all that kind of stuff to where
yeah,
it feels like they had a plan involved, whereas Persona feels like they just did a shotgun method and whichever one the one of the
I,
seeds lands in,
I
that's the one
think
they
they had a
remade.
plan involved, but I think they actually probably thought 0 and the remake of 1 would hold up better than they do because 2, 3, 4 remake, do what you will with 5 and 6 as you please, but having played 0 recently and then gone into the
It needs
remake,
it.
oh, then if you go to 2, it's so stark. And actually,
hmm
0 plays better than the remake of 1. So then you can if you're playing it if you want to play it chronologically, you play 0 and you're like, oh, okay, tank controls, just give me a moment. Yeah, okay, I'm cool with this. These are all where the button placements are, and then you go into a game that's basically exactly the same. All the button placements move, and the game is just different again. It's oh god. Okay,
I
guys.
almost wish they would have just outsourced a lot of that remake into like a sister studio or like another company, and that way we would kind of had our cake and eat it too with like new personas or the new vision of whatever Atlas wants to be, but
Hmm.
also like maybe cool it down with some of the spin-offs of like all the damn games in the world,
Oh, yeah.
all the dang Persona like 5 spin-offs. I'm like, all that effort could have been put into like remaking 0 through 2, and we would have had like banger after banger versus you having a dancing Persona game now,
I
or
would,
you having a
mate. I would love to get a moment in the Atlas boardroom where they're showing the sales projections of these things, and then the staff allocations, and everyone's going, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the dancing, yeah, yeah. And should we rustle out a Tatic again? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, why?
But
Why? Who's the audience?
I,
Who is
I don't like. Admittedly, there is like a nudge of extra story in it, I believe. But like, honestly, I don't. I feel like it's especially with Royale. It's done. The
it's
story is
everything.
told.
It's everything you can want from Persona 5. Royale is like, I think, like my favorite, not only my favorite way of playing the game, I think it's one of the best JRPGs of all time because it's
Mm.
so stacked, it's so beefy, there's so much to do. But you were talking about getting Miss Rachel a gift for Christmas. I would not. I would actually say maybe also get Persona 3, but I would also say in lieu of getting Persona 3, get Metaphor. Because I would
Oh,
say
really?
because she loves fantasy as well. Because you talked about the
Yes.
Lord of the Rings tie-ins. And I
Yes.
was just like,
Right.
she really likes that fantasy vibe. And this is all about it's more of like political fantasy. It's about knights, it's about honor, and all the things I think like were inspired. Like a lot of the story I think has inspirational seeds that came from Tolkien, like and Tolkien isms like, throughout that game. So I'm like, oh, go ahead.
What about how do you think she would take to Expedition 33?
I think she would love it, but I do think Expedition 33, if she is used to being methodical and taking her time with like making those choices, like I
Yeah.
think Expedition 33 has a swing to it to where you have real-time combat elements into the turn base. So like
Ugh.
whenever someone hits you, there is like you can press I'm gonna use PlayStation for example in here. You can press circle to dodge
Yeah.
you have to legitimately dodge and time that right. And then you also have like R1 is like parry. And then like if you hit your parry right, you can actually, flip that attack back onto them and hit them with
Ooh.
double damage. And
I
the
like that.
timing on that, even for me, as someone who's been gaming 20 plus years, is hard. Except, like
Is it
I'm playing on
critical you get it? Is it an extra bonus if you get it, or is it critical to gameplay that you nail it? Are you going to die in a boss battle if you don't nail everyone?
It is I'm playing on normal difficulty right now, and I've been taking my time through Expedition, but like it is on normal difficulty, I would say it is not critical. Like they advise you if you're having trouble with the parry, always
Hmm.
dodge because the dodge window is a lot larger than the parry window.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But also if she wants to play on the narrative or easier difficulties, I think that would be beneficial to her as well. Like where they have I think it's so enlarged that it is more friendly, into where like
I'll
even
be
though those
honest.
mechanics are there.
She's been down the road of experimenting with different difficulties and ultimately decide that normal is the right position because we had a little discussion about if you get your prize too easy, you lose interest. If the
Yeah.
prize is too hard to get, you lose interest. Whereas this, like, yeah, you're a bit sort of stuck on it at the minute, but you got to keep grinding away and it'll pop, and it did, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right, because
Yeah.
that felt amazing.
I'm not a Souls gamer by any means. Like I'm not a Souls gamer, but I do get that sense of like people loving the satisfaction of overcoming those obstacles, and they look
Mm,
on the like after they butt heads with the boss for 50 times, and then they look back after they beat that boss and they go, yes, it's that like cathartic moment of that. Well, like Expedition 33 for me has been a journey of like of really struggling early on with the parrying and figuring out because every single enemy has different attacks, just like Persona. So it's very
mm.
similar to where Persona, like each of the enemies have different attacks, and me trying to do as good as I can because I know like the parries can not only like hit the enemy back for the amplified attack, but they can also like gain me bonus AP points. So those AP points, just like in true JRPG fashion, can be used to do like whatever the special
Yeah.
attacks are. So I'm like I try to stack those up as much as possible to so that I'd be able to do as much damage as quickly as possible or use like specialized skills.
Mm.
So you can also offset that if you by upgrading certain characters because they let you build your characters in certain ways, with the
Right.
attribute points. So I'm like, with her, I would advise if she doesn't feel like she's going to be good at parrying, especially as she tries it early on. If you find that you're struggling with parry, put a lot of those points in defense, and that way when you do take those blows they don't hit hard, like
Mm. She's
so I'm like
actually
there's
enjoyed sculpting the characters in Lord of the Rings to
yeah
kind of benefit. a different play style and team. So I think that could work. I bring that up because we were walking through a brick and mortar store, and very rare these days to find video games in there. And out of all the games on the shelf, that's one that I don't know why she was magnetically pulled to.
It is fantasy. It is fantasy to the core, but there's also like a little bit of sci-fi elements, and I think the story is so riveting. It's so, and in a way,
The story does interest me. To be fair, that's the one
yeah,
bit that made me think, do I need this or no?
yeah, in a way that I think what's so impressive about Expedition 33 is not only the gameplay, because I do think even though it's not like it is indie, it is an indie JRPG, but like it feels like it was done by a AAA team because a lot of it was, but it also feels like the story and the voice acting are all AAA level because like the story it's very simple like premise in the sense to where like a paintress has these numbers that are on a giant map giant like canvas that overlooks the entire island that they live on, the entire place that these people live on, and from 100
Wow.
and it goes down, and for once you like let's say once it's 80, all the people who are above 80 years old dust off like Thanos.
Wow.
So every single year that number trickles down. So as it trickles down, humanity of course gets younger and younger because like it just happens that way. Like, and then the expedition parts come from like the different years, knowing their death is upon them. They go out and they send out an expedition to the island or the location where the paintress is at, and they try to take her down. And the story of this one is about Expedition 33. The clock has
Wow.
ticked down to 33, and you know humanity doesn't have much time left. There's 33 years left on the clock. Like it's going to trickle down further, 32, 31. And it is about this group who knows that it's gotten down to 33. So all these expeditions have failed before them.
So
And
are they 33 years old, or is this the 33rd expedition?
a lot of them are up to their 32nd year, if that makes sense. So I'm like, not all of them are 33 because when the paintress hits that 33 in the sky, everyone that was 33 and above are already dead. So all of them are 32 and below.
Mate, you know, I don't know what happens in the story, but imagine if this went on to like Expedition 5 and a load of 5
Oh man, 5-year-olds. 5-year-olds. But then like it's a really cool twist because like in true evolutionary fashion, like humanity has kept trying to evolve and get better with technology, with magic and all that kind of stuff to try to combat the paintress. So I'm like, it feels like the story has been thought out so seamlessly because like every little thing ties into like the stories. And then as you play the game, my favorite part about this game is not just like the great storytelling, the great like action, the great combat. I think the visuals are way better than they have any right to be from a studio of this size. But then my favorite thing is like seeing the logs of all the expeditions that come before you, because as you're in this uncharted land and such
Oh,
like
wow,
that,
yeah.
there are expeditions, and every single one of them are voice acted differently. So you hear the the anticipation, the anxiety, the excitement from like all the expeditions that have come before you, and each one of them tells a different tale on not only like how they got to a certain location wherever you found the log, but like usually on their moments before their death, or like a moment where they figured something out that might help your expedition.
Oh,
It
that's
is,
cool.
yeah, I think in a way that
Do they
I
play
think it,
while you play, or does it static the screen and then play it to you?
unfortunately it statics the screen while you play, but then yeah, but then it's again indie studio though, but like again it's so small of a moment it might take you 30 seconds to hear that,
That's
but like
fine. Yeah.
yeah, so it's not like it's like oh it's like 5 minutes long and you're just sitting there twiddling your phone or anything like that. They give you just a little bit of a snippet to say like, oh, my name's Angela, and this is not a spoiler, this is just me making it up off the top of my head.
Yeah,
My
it's
name's
cool.
Angela, I reached on this cliffside, I was excited, we tried out a hot air balloon method, got us to this point, but for some reason now we've been sniped out of the sky, and before I die, knowing that we don't have very much supplies left, I just wanted people to know I went out like a G and I demolished everyone around me.
Nice.
That's as quick as it goes right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I do kind
Yeah.
of like it. I like when, I think BioShock did it where you play while it plays. So you can have
Hmm.
longer ones and enjoy it like a little podcast as you go. Infamous 2 had these dead drops where you have to, it says stun pigeon, but I'll be honest with you, if a pigeon can survive that drop and a car driving over it while I shuffle down to get the USB drive in its leg, yeah, good luck to it. But they
Did
also
you?
play while you're playing, so you just
Yeah.
have that nice little bit of lore. And they're not long, but they're long enough where if you were stuck in a static screen, you'd be mardy. Yeah, or
Did
for
you
the
like hear anything about the voice acting of this game?
yeah, how they are just really sweet stories about how they came in and just bounced the dialogue, didn't really think much of it really, and then ended up
Yeah.
being this big success, and they're really happy for him. And I think most of the voice acting contributors kind of had similar stories, and I think there
It
was
is.
more out the back end, but it was sweet, and like I say, it framed up a great moment for him.
It is on the English voice acting side, which is absolutely phenomenal. They have Charlie Cox who played, Daredevil. Andy Serkis, the voice Andy Serkis is in this game as a major character in this game. Ben Starr, who's video game royalty at this point, he's basically in every single major video game as a voice. Jennifer English, Kristen Ritter, like all these amazing like mainstream voice actors are
Mhm.
like in this game. So I'm like it's phenomenal talent. It's also like a do or die situation based on like the story I gave you earlier, and like the acting is impeccable. So I'm like, it is, even if you were to backseat game and to watch her play this game in such a way, I think that would be a great experience for both of you because
Well,
like it feels so narratively and powerfully
on that
driven.
note, one thing I wanted to talk about is like I feel like I'm in my 40s now, hard to believe, I know.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm coming towards almost, and this might sound insane because it's not true, but I feel like I'm a sportsman coming to the end of his professional career because I find games increasingly more difficult.
Yeah.
Um, I find them like maybe some of them a little bit harder to get the initial pick up and play idea of the gameplay loop. Um, it's harder to devote maybe as much time as I once did to just pulling the curtain, sitting in my pants for 10 hours and, well, probably 80 hours without even cracking light or drinking or eating and playing these video games. Um, so, yeah, then because you get a bit of skill fade, you come to a game like, yeah. And your character's doing like the 10-penny
Yeah.
dance on the spot as you're pressing all the buttons trying to work out what is what. Yeah, and I just think, wow, is this something that happens to us all, or am I just going through a bit of a lull at the moment between games, a little bit sort of? Because I have to say, I've got Ghosts and Death Stranding 2 on the shelf, ready to go, but
Ghost of Yotei and
yeah, but we're
Death on
moving
the Beach.
house and doing all these different bits and bobs, and we just want to settle down because we like the stories. We just want to settle down and play through that like a series. We don't want to do a bit on the Portal here, a bit on the PS5 there. It's not the same, and you need
Yeah.
the sort of you can't be messed about with those sorts of games. You just want to blitz them through, but get them enjoyed in the best way possible. So I think that draws us up to the news, Seb, if you agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's dive into it then. As always, you know me, Seb, the news was just basically a random deep swathe of the internet. I can't guarantee any of this is relevant. And we possibly might be discussing some sort of news from 2005. Not guilty.
20 years old.
Yeah, basically. But anyway, we scour the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, over at Push Square, Robert Ramsey's pulled on his Dear Stalker and got his pen out to talk about Project Tal. While we'll be the first to admit, he says, that we're losing track of all these crazy-looking action games from Chinese and Korean studios, that doesn't make Project Tal any less impressive. This newly announced title is currently in development at Mad Engine in South Korea. It's based around the country's mythology And it's described as a AAA single player action RPG. It's targeting PC and consoles in 2027. There's a trailer out there if you want to go look at it. And I'll be honest with you, I bring it here to the table set because the level of graphical fidelity on show in this game and what they're kind of showcasing is possible. And as we reach the end of this gen, we're starting to see maybe some of that promised graphical fidelity that we've all been hankering for. It goes on to say, interestingly, this doesn't seem to be your typical action RPG as you'll fight alongside, and this is a cool element, a roster of intelligent, we'll see about that, NPC companions via a system that dynamically responds to the player's combat style and environment. Has this caught your radar yet, good friend, or is this new news to you?
No. The trailer looks awesome. I You know what this feels like? It feels like a combination of a couple of other genres within this like I know game development takes a long time, so I can't I'm not gonna say like, oh, they saw Wulong and like really jumped on that. But
Well,
like
that is what I thought, to be fair.
it feels like, it feels like the presentation, some of the boss battles of Wulong mixed in with like I would probably compare it more so to what is that game? Capcom's game where you have like companions that are NPCs.
Hmm.
No, I'm almost there. Almost there. Not Monster Hunter. It is the one that dang it. Give me 1 second. Well, I looked this up. Yeah, it looks very fun. It looks like an open world or open area type of game. It reminds me so much of Dragon's Dogma. That's the one I was thinking of.
Right, okay.
Dragon's Dogma, in a sense to where I'm like, the NPCs look like they are corresponding to kind of what you do, and I bet you have like loose instructions of what you could tell them. If I remember correctly, there's a moment
menu on the D-pad, I bet.
Yeah, for sure. It looks it feels like Souls, and that like that genre has really taken over the mainstream in a lot of different ways, because this does feel like it is heavily leaning towards a lot of the elements that we find in the mainline Souls games and in Elden Ring a little bit, with giant monsters that you have to take down. But it feels like they're using a little bit of like the gameplay elements from Dragon's Dogma, a little bit, I would probably say, of the new version, unfortunately, of Dragon Age as well, a little bit, to where that's also in play.
Just to spin this around and have a look at it from this angle. All these Chinese Eastern developing studios coming on board, Sony's got their sort of Dreams sort of campaign or Golden Child campaign for the Chinese developers that they've got running. How are these guys able to just come to market pretty fresh and push these consoles and PC with this graphical fidelity in an open world setting like we've never seen before? What is the magic sauce that's happening over there? Because to me, compared to a Western developed game, these recent Chinese developments and these Korean developments seem to have they've got an edge, and I don't quite know how.
I think it's pretty simple to me. Is like, I think they are laser focused on what matters in video games in a way that here in the West we're not. To where like, I don't think the fidelity is that much better. I think it's more utilized, if that makes sense. To where like, I don't think they're utilizing some secret level of tech that we're not over here. I think like they don't worry so much about environments, if you haven't noticed, with games like, I would probably say Neo and all those games. They're not worried about the environments. They're worried about like what's in front of you.
Yes.
And they use like optical illusion tricks to kind of make you feel like we're in this lush environment, but they only do just enough to make you feel like that you get a sense of like the setting and the scenery around you. But they focus a lot of that graphical fidelity on what matters, which is like the combat, the actual like the ways that the game responds to the actions you do. They are the bosses themselves. Especially if you look at games like Wulong and such, where you actually can see how the blows are impacting your enemies, and you can actually see the graphical fidelities and details on your enemies. I think they're
Mhm.
focusing on what matters versus how detailed a gun or a blade of grass is going to be or a puddle. Like, I also think like there is, and Battlefield has also done this recently. There's a huge emphasis right now on non-ray tracing, to where like you make a game look as good as possible, but you don't actually use ray tracing elements at all.
I think that is the secret sauce for making a game look awesome without absolutely melting the console at the minute. I I don't know why more people aren't doing it. It's almost like, oh, if we don't have ray tracing, it won't sell. Guys, make the game look good and no one will care.
No, I don't think anyone's complaining in Battlefield 6 right now that there's no ray tracing in that game.
No.
No. And the game's still selling like hotcakes. It still has a high player count on
Hey,
across
dude,
all
and it
platforms.
still looks $1 million, doesn't it,
It,
really?
it looks good. So I'm like, I think that's it. And where like you can have elements that look like ray tracing without ray tracing actually be there. You can have like
Exactly. Fake it.
it, yeah,
Like
for
they
sure.
always have. They got really good at faking it to the point where we couldn't tell. Then they take all that horsepower and do it for real, and it looks worse because we need another stage of console to get there now. And it's like, oh, guys, just keep faking it because I really don't care if that reflection is real. I don't.
No, and it's one of those things to where like if you watch, I think like I was listening to like the a video where they were talking about like a person overseas in foreign markets were analyzing what Americans were looking at when they were looking at videos, and what videos like in YouTube, what videos people clicked on and what videos had retention. And a weird thing that they noticed that they put in video games was like a lot of the textures and apertures were blurred. It had blurred backgrounds, but people saw that as high quality as far as like
Mm,
the videos that people watched on YouTube. Whereas like they got a semblance of what was going on, but the background was blurred. But like the actual focus of the video was
yeah.
in higher definition. And in turn, there was a huge movement going on that said, what if we give people a semblance of what's in the background, but we focus and put all that graphical fidelity, all the major focus on our presentation on what's actually present
Well, to be
right in front of
fair,
the gamer.
without bringing quite honestly feels like a bleeding pig's head to the table right now. But PSVR 2 obviously uses that foveated rendering. Imagine if the next gen console just had a camera on top of the TV that did eye tracking and basically just rendered where you looked.
Yeah, yeah, that would. I think that'd be revolutionary in a way that people aren't ready for. Yeah,
Yeah, not
I think.
quite. But,
Yeah,
just relax and play the game. Normally, you're focusing on like just a
yeah.
tiny circle where your character exists. So the rest could be blurred and the textures could drop back a little bit. And then when you look down there with the SSD and whatnot, it'd instantly be there. I've noticed that in the VR, you try and catch it out. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to look over here for ages and flick round. Bam. Perfect. So, yeah, that's got 120 hertz refresh rate, admittedly. But anyway, we
I,
get
I'm,
sidetracked. Our
I'm excited
Chinese
about this game though.
developers, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it looks really good. My next question to you is Triple S, if I may be so
Mhm.
bold. Are Chinese developers, no one's a threat, obviously, because we all get games out of it, but are they a threat to the established order? Because they do seem to be, they've, I'm not saying they didn't exist prior to this, but they've pushed into the Western market harder and with the help of the major studios more than they've ever been able to. And they've
I
come at it for first stabs in a really great effort. And I think that, you know, let's frame it this way. Bethesda should be shitting themselves. Is that why we've not seen anything of the next Elder Scrolls? Because all these games keep coming. Like, first of all, Witcher 3 pulled their pants down. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, well, we're working on the new Elder Scrolls. And then, boom, after game keeps coming out in that ecosystem and doing it as good, if not better. So are these Chinese developers a threat to these developers, especially someone like
I,
Bethesda?
Yeah, yeah, of course, there's only so much market share to go around, so the obvious answer would be yes. But then, like, I think like the real positive spin on all this is basically like I like to see studios, especially up and coming studios like this, especially if they're not owned by Tencent and owned by EA and owned by the Activisions of the world, get their
Yeah.
shine in a way because, like, in a way that is threatening to the bless you, that is threatening
Excuse me.
to the overview of what Xbox and their daddy Microsoft wants, but then like in a way that's healing of a lot of the industry. Like that
Mm.
market share, instead of it being captured by the tried and traditional methods of Bethesda, is going towards a up and coming studio that is trying to have their fair share of the market and actually like capture the market. That's another prestigious studio that adds to the portfolio of what video games are. And I feel like that
Yes.
makes the industry more interesting, more better. You know, like competition breeds like better results for consumers. So I'm like, I love this news. I think like I look at this, I look at Warhorse Studios, which is that Czechs they made how you say it? Czech Republic
Czech Republic.
uh
Yeah, that's what we
Czech
say.
Republic there.
I mean, you
Yeah, so
called
I'm
your
like,
wife your missus earlier, so you've obviously spending far too much time with us.
yeah, so so I'm like, they're the studio that made Kingdom Come and Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah, that's
Kingdom Come
right.
Deliverance sold really well. I'm like, I'm happy for the Wulongs of the world, the Come Deliverances of the world, the other like the Asian based studios, because I'm like, I think, oh, and we
Well,
mentioned
look at
like
CD Project
Expedition.
Red as well.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red. Yeah,
Yeah,
Poland,
mm,
Polish studio. So I'm like,
absolutely.
I love how divisive and expansive they're making the industry, because I'm like, as opposed to fat cats getting fatter, this is more people making their stamp and people actually resonating and supporting. Not necessarily small creators. These aren't like small indie creators by any means, but indie in the sense that where they're not
Uh, Allied to
third
one
party
of
owned.
the
Yeah.
big conglomerate dogs. Yeah, no, I agree.
Corporation. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
absolutely.
it feels like in a way, you remember how there used to be a bigger double A audience? Like back when we were growing up, and like that PS2, PS3,
Yeah.
even like PS4 era.
Well,
It feels
indies
like
kind of fill that gap, but are these
yeah,
guys now the new double A? I feel like
this
they're all.
feels double A.
It feels above double A though, and that's my point with these Chinese Korean developers. I don't know what the underneath product is, but Wukong kind of survives that element of it, and then
Yeah.
graphically, yeah, you've talked about some optical illusions and magic tricks, and I'm all for it. No one said a
And
console had to replicate real life; just make it look realistic in the area I'm in.
a
That's
lot
it.
of people in the industry are calling like these new wave of games triple I, like triple indie,
That's
but
not a
like
bad. I don't know whether Project Tal is or isn't that thing, but triple I, yeah, I
yeah,
like it.
to where like
That's
it's not indie, but it's like it's that triple A level of indie game, and it's like that triple I level, and I love that. I love that saying, and I think like other games, even if they are backed by a smaller company, like a smaller foundation or a smaller background, at least it's not like EA. At least it's not Activision, and they're getting their slice of the pie of the industry, and I like that.
triple S is a triple I of a triple A. That's
Yeah, so
three triples with a triple
yeah,
S. So he's the triple. Wow.
man.
He's the said
If you can
triple
get that
A.
in baseball, you'd be eating good.
Oh my goodness gracious. You
You'd
would.
be good.
Well, let's
You'd
wheel
be
out this
good.
next bit of news. Dressed in green, presented by Ben Kerry over on, where is this? Pure Xbox. Sarah
Okay.
Bond, our next gen console will be very premium and informed by the ROG Xbox Ally. Let's get into this. Shortly following the release of the ROG Xbox Ally, Microsoft Sarah Bond has been dropping hints about the team's next gen plans. It's about time you did, because you practically convinced everyone you're shutting down. And the Xbox president has had some interesting things to say about the next console from Microsoft. In an interview with Mashable, Bond was quizzed about rumours that the next-gen Xbox will be more PC-like. In response, the exec basically went along with these rumours, saying that the team's next-gen console will be a very premium, very high-end curated experience, and that the thinking behind that has been informed by the ROG Xbox Ally handheld. Here's a quote. I can tell you right now the next-gen console is going to be very premium, a very high-end curated experience. You're starting to see some of the thinking of this with the handheld. but I don't want to give it all away. Of course, that doesn't mean the next-gen console will necessarily take the form factor of the ROG Xbox Ally, but it's sounding like Microsoft is leaning into that sort of hardware philosophy going forward. What we're reading into this is that the next-gen console will probably be a pretty expensive, more PC-like in nature, and open to all different storefronts and ways to play that you see on PC. However, one crucial way the new console will likely differ from the ROG Xbox Ally is compatibility with existing Xbox libraries. We're seeing a lot of frustration swirling around that the new handheld is just a PC with an Xbox logo due to its lack of console game compatibility. But that should all change when the team's next-gen system comes along. Microsoft has already revealed that it has established a forward compatibility team to make sure existing libraries work with future hardware, and we're fully expecting the results of that labour to be on show next gen. Now, this sits here because you'd think the way Xbox are gut punching consumers right now that and the industry had decided the writing was on the wall for them, and the Series X was the last ever console. The ROG Xbox Ally was basically a front row seat at the funeral, or at least at the wake of Xbox. But Sarah Bond refuses to die. She's stood up. She's dragged together little bits of PC, much like the original Xbox. Let's never forget that. The Direct Xbox is a PC in a box in its fundamental original design document. And now it sounds like it's returning back to Mother Hen. It's going to crawl up on her lap and have a little suck of bitty, is what I would say.
Oh. Oh. Oh, my.
Just for a moment, you forgot that you were on the UCP, and then you suddenly had a very harsh reminder of I don't know why a chicken would need to be breastfed, but suddenly it does. Now, what do you make of all this? Now, reason why I put this in the news, there's always a reason why George would put something in the news. The reason why I put this in the news is because I am feeling like the only leg Microsoft and Sony have got to play in the next-gen console game is either gimmick the hell out of it with some sort of dockable, undockable, semi-light processing running on the hardware handheld, which sees me thinking they're following Switch a little bit like they followed the Wii with the Move and the Kinect, and we all know how that worked out, boys. Maybe do your own ideas. Or alternatively, which Sarah Bond is looking to confirm here, that they're going to have to justify them by being very premium, made out of a premium material, have a kind of premium look and feel to them, which is to be expected, because I imagine, Triple S, that when the next-gen consoles launch, we're going to be knocking on the door of $899, if not, why not, all in by the time you've bought all the gizmos that are going to go with one of these next-gen consoles. We're probably knocking on the door of at least $1,000 minimum investment. Now, at that point, am I better off going down to... I don't even know if there's a shop you can wander into and buy a PC in anymore, Seb, unfortunately. And then I'll be the consumers exposed to the minefield of buying a little deal on Amazon or trying to build their own. I can't imagine a 12-year-old's going to succeed very well trying to bolt his own PC together in a back bedroom.
You'd be surprised. A lot of them are tech-savvy now. Like, a lot of them are PC building very early now.
Well, you're in touch with the younger end of the audience, whereas I come in defending the daddy-os, wondering why consoles aren't made out of wood like they were back in the good old days. But, Triple S, I know everything goes up in price, and I know that everything is relative in terms of inflation, etc. But in today's modern marketplace, even in a world where a candy bar costs you probably $1.50.
Jeez.
Welcome to the UK. What world are we living in where a console is the thick end of a G, baby?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ever wondered what a rhythm-based stealth game with dinosaurs might look like?
or a farming sim in space with zombies? Welcome to the Gaming Blender podcast. I'm Matt, and with my co-host Scott, we take a random game genre and random game mechanics, blend them all up, and pitch wild, totally hypothetical games you've never heard of, and maybe shouldn't. New episodes every other week. Hit play and unleash your inner game dev. No coding required. Search the Gaming Blender on your favorite podcast app now.
There's a lot to break down in this question, I guess. Are we going to speculate on the direction of Xbox now, or you want to talk about like Sarah Bond's comments? Like, do you
I
want me
want
to
I want to get into it. I want to touch on all of it, if I may, but primarily, well, let's start with that first question. Is the market, albeit in 2 years' time, is the market in a place where that noise of $1,000 for a video game console is ever going to be acceptable?
No, it is going to be very high end. I think I'm curious right now because with the economy the way it is, with the political landscape of the way it is, with the tariff situation in the U.S. affecting global economics and such like that, it is we're in a weird spot where video games is being affected by all that, but we're also companies and greed comes into play to where like a lot of corporations are taking advantage of the political underclimate and raising prices
100%
for that for sure. But then getting all that out of the way, consumers, I think there's always going to be buy-in from the early adopter hardcore audience, and that is 100% going to be there. Like, I think and I know I'm not trying to drag down anybody in particular, but with like the ROG Ally X Xbox edition, with the Nintendo Switch, with like Steam Deck, you name the console, there's always a high swell of early adopters who want to be right there from the front, trying to get into, oh, I want the latest and greatest tech, and I want to just see what the hubbubaloo is about. Then after that kind of like early groundswell swells away, then I think we really get down to the meat and potatoes of like, oh, is this console actually selling well? Is it actually doing well? Is the market actually responding to it? So I don't think we'll know initially, even when the new console comes out, but when like a year to a year point five, I think we're going to see how well the market responds to it. With the Switch, I'm curious on what the year two sales are going to be, way more than I am about what year one sales. And I think like the ROG Ally X, the Xbox edition, I don't think the ROG Ally, the first one, sold well, much less you slap Xbox on it. I'm curious on how much of a difference one is that year two going to be from like the first iteration to this iteration. And I'm also curious on, for this next coming up Xbox, how much traditionalists are going to buck the thought of having to deal with different storefronts. And because I think like traditionalists and old heads are really staunch in their belief of like, I just want to pick up a console. I want everything to be right in front of me. I want the UI to be as presentable as possible to where I can get into my games.
The whole Xbox
Steam
audience must think that, otherwise they would have bought a PC in the first place. They skated that very... That's why I brought it up. The direct Xbox, it really was a combination of old laptop parts put into a box and made easy to use with a menu on the front of it, so you could just load a game in. They're getting allegedly, Sarah Bond kind of confirmed it in a way, they're getting to a point where there's going to be little portals. Go here for your Xbox games, click here to go for your Steam games, click here to go for your Epic games. It's very interesting, and then you navigate to their store, but you boot from there, but then you got to come back and then boot from X. It's not what I would call, if it's handled well, and if anyone could handle it, you expect Microsoft could make it slick.
I've gotten hands on with the LAX, and from my very brief like hands on with it, I've this is also me trying to take my bias out of it, but then like trying to come at this from a understanding of like what I think modern day gamers prefer, because I do think traditionalists prefer the experience like you were saying just now, which I think traditionalists, ironically, the platform they've been trying to avoid the longest is giving them, they would give them in this new landscape in this new generation is going to give them that experience more than any other platform, and I think that's Steam. But like, because Steam, like with their Steam OS and everything like that, you can have everything in one place, everything in front of you in one place, no matter what storefront it came from. And
See, that's what I feel. That's where I feel Microsoft, with their billions, with their probably people sat around spinning around on an office chair half the time on God knows how much money a year looking for a project, could really be doing for them. Literally stitch all these storefronts together into one cohesive vision. Steam are racing ahead again. And you got to wonder here, because Steam Deck, I'll be honest, it's not my cup of tea, sir. And I don't know where worldwide sales are at, but I tell you what, it puts a very convincing argument together for the consoleization. They've done the most for a consoleization of a PC experience that I know of.
I think this is just me. This is just me speaking. I think they've done everything in the right way of prodding the market, seeing what people like. I think Steam Deck was beta testing. I think they're going to get into the console marketplace. And to make, I think like from everything that I've seen, they did the Steam machine back in the day. They did like their own variation of their own controller. I think the Steam Deck, I think with Steam OS and putting that on different devices, seeing how that works. I think like Xbox and Steam are playing like the same game. They're just doing it in a like a different order, so to speak. Steam is kind of prodding the market and testing it out.
Maybe, but I see Steam being like on the evolutionary scale, Neanderthal man. I see Xbox almost barely descended from the trees, friend. I don't know how they can get caught napping in so many different ways every time. We joked, I think, before we went on air, that if someone could have written out, you couldn't imagine all these things would be performed by Xbox time and time again, and you can't imagine it's just a coincidence there can be that bad optics every time, to the point where you got to think it's on purpose. But to what grand effort? And we decided, very much like Doctor Strange, Phil Spencer was assessing all the realities, and no matter how crazy this feels, and no matter how many big heroes we lose along the way, Hi-Fi Rush, you were beautiful, but you're dead. All these fallen heroes along the way to end up with this world where Xbox is king of all gaming. No question.
I think there's a lot to unpack with those statements there, but like it is a weird thing to where like I mentioned Xbox and Steam. I think they're trying to get to the same direction. They're just taking wildly different paths of trying to get there. Like in a sense to where like I think Xbox wants to be everywhere, but they want to be everywhere in the sense to where they're mostly going to focus on this next journey, because I don't think fans will let them get out of hardware. I do think Microsoft wants to get out of hardware. Xbox doesn't. Fans don't want them to.
No.
Microsoft, I think, wants them to be just like Microsoft Windows, just like Microsoft 365, which is, like their Excel and all that kind of stuff, to where anything that is able to access it can access it. They're also building heavy into their servers and heavy into cloud platforms.
Well,
they want to be everywhere.
And that is what to make this happen, they need to get those networks, those servers built, and they're going to need rooms upon rooms upon rooms. If this takes off, and imagine this world, Xbox Anywhere. I've got a 2020 television that's managed to get the Xbox Anywhere app downloaded on it. As an example, I haven't, but let's just say as an example. I've got it working.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got my Xbox controller, everything's singing and dancing exactly as I want it to be. Imagine that future then where they kind of merge into the Steam store, and I'm somehow seamlessly meant to be playing a game from 2001 in the Steam library that's like barely functional, and it's kind of hanging on, and it's working on this network through emulation, and I'm kind of grinding through on my controller. To Microsoft genuinely believe that's a reality that's the reality they're pushing for?
I think Microsoft I think has a different vision of what Xbox wants to do. I think they're different companies, and unfortunately one's above the other.
Is that where Xbox are pushing to? Is that the reality we're going to wake up in one day, where I just pick up a controller, turn on my TV, and all the work's getting done on the cloud, and I'm playing something from the Steam library from
100%. That's what Xbox wants.
Wow,
100%. That's what Xbox wants. You know, like
how are we controlling the transactions in this landscape?
I think they want to have their cake and eat it too, to where like I think in this next generation, this is my prediction. We haven't got to this part of the conversation, but I'm gonna skip ahead.
I like
a little
it.
bit.
Let's get to this.
My prediction for this next generation of Xbox is Sarabon and everybody. They're going to announce one premium device around $799 to $899.
I agree.
That's going to be their core device. And I think there is going to be a lesser device that very similar to what the Series S was in this generation. There's going to be a lesser device, but it's not just going to be made by Microsoft. I think they're also going to put out a slew of Xboxes made by Asus, made by Legion Go, made by made by I Am Neo. I think like they are going to put out different compatible devices that all are going to have the Xbox logo on them and the Xbox iOS not iOS but Xbox OS on them, and that's going to be their lower tier market. And then their higher tier market, there's just going to be one console that's going to be for premium gamers only. In the meanwhile, they're also going to push Xbox Cloud out the wazoo, and they're also going to have several different announcements in the next coming 8 months that says, you know, we're moving Xbox console gamers and console games. This game is now Xbox Anywhere. Like they're going to brand it. This game is now an Xbox Anywhere game. This game is now an Xbox Anywhere game, which is code for we're putting all of our Xbox console games into Xbox PC versions of those same games. They're going to have that mindset. All the games that are coming out now, like from that October announcement or the September announcement from the price raise, everything going forward is going to be Xbox PC primarily developed for. And then it'll just happen to also play on the console. And I think they're slowly going to, just like they did with backwards compatibility, they're going to migrate a lot of that old library from Xbox console library to the Xbox Play Anywhere library.
Well, it's an easy win. One thing I would say about this strategy is I've not thought of it in that way before, but we've kind of been here before. Hi, I'm Trip Hawkins. Welcome to the 3DO, the future of gaming. This can be made by anybody. You know, it's not going to be made just by us. It's going to be made by Panasonic, Sanyo, everybody. In a way, you absolve yourself of a lot of the problems. In a way, I think you're right. The fans are what's holding Xbox's business transition back. The hardcore fans that they've built since the original Xbox are saying, I want a console.
They're only going to hold them back for so long because Xbox right now has proven they do not give a damn about these fans much.
I know that, and that's a shame because, you know, for the longest time, I was also in that wheelhouse of being there for them from day one. Mm-hmm. And
same here.
It started to get very disingenuous, and it was like, nah. Back end of the 360, the writing was on the wall.
I was here for this whole generation until this last 12 months, but yeah, it is. But yeah, I think like they're gonna have one thing that you said. I think the biggest statement you said, not just in the Sarah Bond article that you read, but like I think her biggest takeaway to me was that line where she specifically talked about like they got to have their cake and eat it too, because like she said, the ROG Ally X, we're not the ones who set the prices. You know, ROG was the one who actually set the prices on that.
Yes,
they kind of got to have their cake as the they got to have their cake with it being a shift that blame on why it's a 1,000 ROG at that point. So I'm like, it is one of those things to where I'm like, why stop? Why not partner with AM Neo? Why not partner with, like Legion Go? Why not partner with any of the other 12 mobile PC platforms that are going to do this and stuff like
I
that?
wonder
And
if, there was I presume there's a deal between them exists to give a little bit of exclusivity. Plus, it's the first time that it's not the first time exactly, but it's the first major time that they've kind of lent out the Xbox brand per se. It's the Xbone, that phone adapter, bits and bobs. Yeah, well, it's true. PlayStation dabbled there. They've kind of put the official stamp on things, but this to me goes one stage further than Xbox have kind of really been before in this handheld PC. And to be fair, what is it? Is it a sticker on the corner of it, basically, and a button that's going to fast track you to the Xbox area quicker than another version of it?
I think one of the things that makes me feel like it's not going to be an exclusive deal is the play anywhere mantra. It's because like you can't be exclusive when you already have these things on phones, televisions, and everything else.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
I suppose if you are one of those hardcore Microsoft guys that's got them this far, and I spoke to you off air and I talked to RGT about the hardcore consumer basically propping up the video game market right now. They're the ones who are buying the games every month. I think the highest attach rate of console user probably bought one game a year, which I found staggering, to be honest with you. But I guess if you're a kid, you've got the console, you probably play the free-to-play stuff. In a way, luckily for them, they're getting a scrape off the microtransaction, but that's about it. That's a weird world to live in. You put all this development time into a console that then someone else puts the game on it for free that you allow, and then you basically exist off the scrapings of the floor scrapings of that game.
Man, this would be a different landscape if PUBG had never taken off. If PUBG and Fortnite would have never taken off, completely different landscape.
Think of the games we'd be playing now and how they wouldn't... Because I think those games have negatively impacted the gaming landscape in terms of gameplay as well, because they know that's a hook for a lot of people that don't play anything else. So the games kind of have to have those threads, the big loot, the big shiny... Look at Suicide Squad. It's almost like it just fell out the back arse of a Fortnite season, didn't it? It was exuberant, it's shiny, it's neon. Yes, it's catching to the eye to anybody, but it certainly feels a product of that generation. And I maybe would be playing another muddy brown shooter again if it wasn't for those. But yeah, I agree with you. If the free-to-play gimmick, I suppose, more than anything, but definitely the Battle Royale standard hadn't gripped so hard. What would...
Because the landscape would be so different. It would be. The casinofication of games wouldn't have come this hard.
No, not. There would be loot. There would be
microtransactions for sure.
Yeah, there would be the card pops. They would be featured still in some way. Your stubs on MLB or whatever it is on FIFA Ultimate Team points or whatever it is. They would still exist, but I don't think it would be. Would it exist in the pantheon of other games? I don't think it would. That's an interesting...
No.
Wow.
No, because I think if you looked at the chain of events that happened after that, if there was no Fortnite, no PUBG explosion, that means the landscape of first-person, third-person shooters would have absolutely probably stayed along that same type of line.
Yeah.
And if it stayed on that type of line, Xbox would have probably had a little bit more momentum with like their first party output, as far as like Halo's probably wouldn't have flopped as hard as they would have.
Yeah, they'd have had more eyes on as well, because people would be hungry for that genre.
Yeah, for sure. And if that and Titanfall would have probably done a lot better, but if those games would have done a lot better, then Xbox probably wouldn't have had to try to make the Hail Mary to buy Activision or Bethesda. And if that transaction never would have happened, there's so many dominoes that would never fail.
I'll tell you one thing that would have been even more of a juggernaut than it is now. If Fortnite didn't exist, GTA 5 would be doing even more numbers than it already is. It's crazy to say, but it would be absolutely nuts. And I do see Fortnite becoming the one-stop shop for, let's say, a kid gets a console, awesome, doesn't have any games to play, no problems, he gets Fortnite. And then Fortnite box off within that map now, really every genre. You can drop down there and race a car around. You can drop down and play football. You can drop down and do a dance.
They got concerts now.
They have trapped you in one ecosystem. Yeah.
You mentioned The Simpsons. Like, Fortnite is about to do a Simpsons map completely do a Simpsons themed like season. If they didn't do that, you would probably have Simpsons Hit and Run like 2 now.
Easily.
I'm like, there's so many spirals if Fortnite would have never become a juggernaut.
And a modern day Hit and Run 2 would look exactly like the Simpsons movie. It would be so... oh, God, mate. It would be so good. Because they do the 2D, but it's 3D as well without looking stupid, because the Simpsons look... I think one of the rules in the design handbook of The Simpsons is never show them face on, because they look so odd. You have to always be at a 3/4 slant on the screen. So obviously in Hit and Run, when they made these 3D models for these characters, it's awful. The only thing that holds you back, really, because everything else looks perfect. So a new Hit and Run with Simpsons movie style animation would be peerless.
And think about it, WB in general would have been a tried and true, mostly single player studio output outside of Mortal Kombat still. We would have probably got more of the games of the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War games.
Mad Max 2.
We would have probably got Mad Max 2. There would have probably been another Matrix, a continuation of the Matrix games.
Yes.
Hogwarts Legacy would have probably been made earlier, and we'd probably be on a third iteration of Hogwarts Legacy's style of game. And then...
oh, yes.
And Batman...
The Hogwarts Legacy we got now would have been the third iteration, so not only would it have looked amazing, it would have had this really great dynamic storyline with interactive lessons, more proper lessons, timetable... day night. Oh God!
I'm telling you. And then on top of that, like the Batman games wouldn't have died off the death that they did.
They wouldn't have kill it like that.
No, for sure. No, I mean we might have even gotten a Superman game. God forbid.
We would have got that.
Yeah,
because they wouldn't have thought to turn it into an online game to try and chase the microtransactions of Fortnite to appeal to the kiddies, so they never would have needed to make it. Gotham Knights wouldn't have got made.
Also, like, I would probably say 1 million people in the industry probably wouldn't have gotten laid off because everyone would be working on a lot of these projects to constantly keep trying to recoup, constantly keep trying to get, like, steady waves of money as opposed to chasing the never-ending tail dragon that is.
Yes, there'd be a lot less money. Boom and bust of these games that come to happen that... and the problem is the incubation cycle. Fortnite do one thing one day, so by the time they thought, oh, Battle Royale might be a cool idea, oh, it seems to be catching on, by the time you've got through the incubation cycle of development, the bubbles burst, or they've got so big you can't crack in. So then they do something else. Oh, well, they've got this, like, you could drive a car around in there. Okay, what if we combine that and that? Development cycle. And then we see games like that car racing game, Crash Star, whatever it was, on PS5. It got launched as an exclusive. It was like you drive cars around, but then you fight on top of them as well.
Oh, the Twisted Metal clone is what you're talking about.
Not even that. It was more
Destruction All-Star. Not Destruction All-Stars.
That's it. Destruction All-Stars. We wouldn't have had that. They wouldn't have even have thought to make that game.
That was it. Destruction All-Stars.
Yeah,
that was bad. That was bad.
That wouldn't exist. That studio would have made something else. Oh, God, mate, honestly. Naughty Dog wouldn't have wasted all that time making that Last of Us online game.
Hey, we could have gotten an Uncharted with a game with, like, his daughter by that time.
Easily.
Oh my goodness, that would have been amazing. Or, I would have loved to have like Lost Legacy Part 2 or Part 3. I would have loved that. I like those little smaller installments into that style of game.
I honestly felt like, spoilers for quite an old game now, and not spoiling it too much, but obviously the Brothers' arrival. it felt like there was no point unless there was going to be more.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't. And it just, maybe they did it to leave a window or sort of broaden out the team a little bit more. But yeah, I genuinely felt like they'd left the door open for more there. They knew they'd closed the door, but then had opened the door and then left the door open. I guess maybe one day we'll go back there, but I
was
know.
hoping the uncle would be the Sam to his daughter.
Me too. Yeah, or Sully or whatever. Yeah.
Or Sully, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
That's what I meant. But
let's dust off this last bit of news. It's a bit of Switch news over at the wonderful people at Nintendo Life. Big fans of the show is Gavin Lane. I do believe he's got a UCP tattoo on his ankle. Evidence. Picture
the
evidence.
tramp stamp of the foot.
Yeah, it's kind of where he likes to be grabbed, apparently. So that's where he likes to show off his love for the podcast. Absolutely. Never thought of these two things would be sharing the same ecosystem of my mouth, but it's Elden Ring and Switch 2. Elden Ring sadly delayed, though, on Switch 2 to allow time for performance adjustments.
It need to be.
Tarnished edition pushed to 2026. Let's have a look to a little at what Gavin's been saying. Bandai Namco and From Software delaying the planned launch of Elden Ring Tarnished Edition on Switch 2 until next year. Originally scheduled to arrive on Nintendo's console before the end of 2025, a post on the game's official X account apologises to players and says the delay into 2026 is to allow time for performance adjustments. Got their official tweet here. From the Elden Ring account, while development on Elden Ring Tarnished Edition continues so hardly towards release, we've decided to move the launch to 2026 to allow time. We apologise to players looking forward to the game and thank you for your patience and support. Just thought I'd put that in there because, they're grateful for you. From Software's game was playable at Gamescom back in August, so maybe Seb can fill us in on that, although various outlets, including Nintendo Life
said it ran like old Serpent Ahop.
Oh, wow. Reported disappointing performance on the Nintendo system. It's not the sweet, sweet Baby Ray we wanted, especially in handheld mode with frame drops and stuttering, especially noticeable in the open areas. Oh, the Switch 2's fallen so hard at the first hurdle. This is Witcher 3 all over again. The game launched elsewhere back in February 2022 to glowing reviews and was followed by Shadow of the Erdtree DLC in 2024, which will be included in the Tarnished Edition. It's unsurprising, perhaps, that such an ambitious game might struggle on handheld hardware, but we had hoped for a smooth, consistent experience on Switch 2, despite the familiar caveats of running a full-fat cross-platform home console game. That's a mouthful, Gavin. Try saying that out loud on portable hardware. However, although it's disappointing to see this one slip into next year, at least for those of us who had holiday plans involving a trip to the lands between, if the devs need more time to make the decision not quite so tarnished, so be.
Oh, I like what you did there.
Don't thank me. Anyway, thank our good friend Gavin and his UCP tramp stamp.
Thank you, Gavin.
Now, did you get to play this on the show floor?
Yeah, it did run bad. It did. But,
So-
it's...
One thing I want to say is you are like the rock and roll star of the UCP. You're at all the shows, you get all the codes, you meet all the indie devs. I mean, wow. Even the CEO looks at you, and that's me, by the way. He looks at you and is like, I wish I was him. He's handsome.
No, you should.
He's got a great
should.
physique. He's cut in a great way. He's polite. He's good at games. I'll be honest with you. If gaming had a messiah, if that's not blasphemy in itself, it'd be you.
Nah, man, I'm more of a guy just trucking along. I'm basically the starter Pokemon, Chikorita or Bulbasaur. Chikorita or Bulbasaur. I'm not the A-team Charmander or Squirtle. I'm the starter Pokemon Bulbasaur.
I'm pretty stoked with that. You turn into Blastoise, don't you?
The Blastoise would be the Squirtle variation.
Oh, sorry.
Blastoise is the one. Blastoise is the big turtle that has like the big machine gun or the big like power.
Wouldn't you be? Hang on a minute. I've just seen out the corner of my eye the UCP dog Biscuit. What's the health update on Biscuit? Because he's had a bit of a turn he's had a little bit of a turn at the veterinarians.
Yeah. He had early this year he had a battle seizure, and then We got everything under control. He's been taking medication, been going on walks. He's a good boy. Right now he's been catching a nap after an early morning walk. So he's doing pretty well. Thank you for asking.
Well, everyone in the UCP loves a little bit of biscuit.
Yeah.
So it's
Especially
good
over there, y'all like biscuits.
Mate, we love biscuits, and I think we love dogs even more. So you having a dog named Biscuit that is the show's unofficial UCP mascot is, quite frankly, it's the dog's bollocks.
Yeah. So yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well. When he wants me to actually let me play video games, for instance, it's
is he still a full man, or has he had a little operation downstairs?
Oh man, he had that operation as soon as possible. As soon it was medically cleared, we basically had the snip because Biscuit was a little bit of a ladies' man.
Oh, really?
And as a pup, yeah, he's a little bit of a ladies' man. So we just wanted to make sure he wasn't going to be running around, being a dad too soon. So
we now make all of our dogs basically the equivalent of Roman eunuchs.
Yeah, for sure. for sure. So like he's been pretty good though. It's been pretty good. So on Elden Ring though, the going on the show floor, yeah. It's surprising though, because I think like a couple of things on Elden Ring. Okay, let me just preface this by saying this. Like, I think the Switch 2 phenomenal system for what it is, and I also think like the games that run well on it are more on the developers than they are on the consoles. Like, I think the developers, I think especially Ubisoft made Star Wars Outlaws run magnificent on that thing, and then
the newly announced was it Shadow? Was
Shadows? Yeah, coming December 2nd.
Amazing.
Yeah, coming December 2nd. That one looks like it'll run pretty well on there. So I think. Just like with anything in video game development now, you have to optimize it well with whatever platform you're putting on. And I think one of the things that when you look at the people who do optimize well, you get really, really good ports. I'm looking at, I think, CD Projekt Red, for instance, with one of my favorite games of all time, Cyberpunk. Like, I think they optimize the hell out of that game, and that game runs flawlessly, even if it's a lesser version, runs flawlessly on the Switch 2.
I'll be honest, in handheld, you wouldn't, and again, off air, we talked about, I saw an interview with Shuhei Yoshida saying he can't tell the difference anymore. Fair play, because in handheld, 6 inches, 10 inches from your face, in isolation, you can't tell. You're playing Cyberpunk 2077, and it looks great.
I think the only part of like Switch versus everything else is like, I think the only argument against the Switch versions of games is if you actually got your eyes on the better model. It's like you're living in a bubble otherwise. So like, you don't know what you don't have. You know what I mean? Like,
agree.
If I only played the Cyberpunk version of on the Switch 2, and I'd be like, okay, I'm living good. I'm eating good. The game runs really well on that thing.
It runs
like,
really well.
Yeah, so I'm like, I might be trapped at 30 FPS, but like 30 or 60 FPS, but I'm like, I wouldn't know the difference between the ray tracing version, the actual draw distance versions of the game to where like you see the high fidelity. No, you wouldn't know that. But like going back to Elden Ring, I think like one of the things that surprises me so much about Elden Ring running poorly is this is a game from 2022, first of all.
Yeah.
2022. It is a game that, while I think looks okay at times, From Software, I don't think has made a game to where I would call it show-stoppingly beautiful.
Agreed.
Like, I haven't looked at
artistically, it looks great, but in terms of like a graphical,
it's the art style.
It is the art style that holds it together. Agreed. Yeah.
I wouldn't say anything about those games. From the character models to like the boss to the boss models, I wouldn't say anything looks like it is. Oh my God, this is, if there was an award for best visuals of the year, I don't think that'd be nominated. Like,
yeah,
it's about the gameplay. It's about the depth of the game. So it baffles me why
game wasn't. Let me throw this in as well. it's been optimized to the point where it'll run on Series S, a known stablemate now with the Switch.
This game runs on Steam Deck really good.
Well, that, more to the point. So what's happening here now? I don't know if you caught up on the latest bit of news, but the game card situation for Nintendo actually circles back round to a solution where it's better for them to have it on the hardware to replicate the SSD experience rather than pulling it off the card. Now, the card is a limiting factor. Star Wars Outlaws was a game key card because it could go directly onto the SSD, and that reduced the loading. It went directly onto the hardware and mirrored the performance of an SSD, which allowed them to do the trickery to get Outlaws running. Now, one wonders are they struggling with that because they're trying to go down the route of putting it all on a card?
I think with a game like this and the landscape that we're in, it's like, especially with physical, I'm like, you got to get it running on a card. And I think like also people expect this to be the lesser version of whatever game it is.
I agree. There's people.
Yes.
I think people on the Switch are more eager to accept a compromise to get a good running version of the game they've seen others play. Yes, I do.
They don't care about the highest version of that. So I'm like, with a game like this, just get it running well. Just get it running well, and I don't think people are going to trip about load times. You're playing the Switch 2 version of whatever it is. You know what I mean?
I think the load times is more in terms of just being able to get the textures off the card onto the screen in a way that didn't look really bad from a pop-in and texture flicker point of view.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. But also like, there's certain games that run really well on it. But then like I saw Pokemon ZA, and I'm like, to me, this might be more in line of like a criticism of like the Pokemon company, but I see no reason why that game looks as dull and flat as what it does, and also why the open world is as empty as what it is as well. So I think it's like, it is
all their 3D transitions have really suffered from that, though, mate. And I always wondered what it would be like to transition a Pokemon game from 2D or isometric to 3D. And it's big open areas with loads of random creatures running around that doesn't make any sense at all in terms of an ecosystem. It's crazy.
And then it looks like so with ZA, it has the cardinal sin of being all in one area, one city. And all you're seeing is like this funky looking like city platform. And with Elden Ring, I think at least I give it the benefit of the doubt.
Looks better than
that
this.
Game's deep.
I know that Pokemon looks better than this, but it's got real serious shades of the town from Sonic Adventure on Dreamcast.
Oh, it really does. It really does. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. But no, like Elden Ring baffles me. Like, I don't get why. And I also get that, with FromSoft, if they're doing the porting themselves as opposed to like having a separate company doing the port job for this, then I get that they were also working on Night Rain. But I was just like, at that point, I think it's either bad management because you knew you were working on Night Rain, so you knew you didn't have like the resources to throw into making this a proper port, or it's poor optimizations because like you had the resources and you still optimized a very poor performance on Steam. So on not Steam, but on Switch. So I'm like, there was a sin either way. I'm just trying to figure out where the sin happened.
I suppose in a way it's a surprise, that they even announced they were porting this, and there was a lot of excitement, obviously, when people realised that it was coming. They're looking for an extension to tweak it, which is fair enough. They've had a bad showing on the show floor in physical hands, which you've got to think is, why would you even commit to that?
Show it if you knew that. You have playtesters in the building.
I would, yeah. I don't know.
You do nothing but harm to your company like
exactly. That. I would right that. I don't know whether it was a vertical slice. I doubt it because it's too open a game. So it was like literally, here you go, guys, knock yourself out. And in a way,
and it's also like you don't hide that type of game because that game's also been out for 3 years. So it's like, demoing a port like that, you usually don't see them port off like, or have like those those garden walls that you can't get past because everyone's played the hell out of it.
It's the full fat version that they've basically let you go at, either a demo timed version or the full fat version on the show floor to knock yourself out on. I suppose my only argument about people saying, it runs poorly, is those people that flopped to play it on the Switch 2 would have been hardened fans of Elden Ring that would have played the absolute wheels off of it, either on a high-end PC or Series X or PS5, and gone at it with expectations, and they would have played it when you get very familiar with the game, you play it in a very choppy and very kind of staccato fashion. And I also wonder if that lent itself to its poor performance on the show floor. It was by a crowd that are very aware of its performance on the other platforms. Their timings are built around the attacks of the creatures, so they kind of subconsciously aware of the FPS, if you get what I'm saying. And therefore it was shown up worse because it's running at half the FPS that they played it at. I mean, is that half the issue?
Here's the argument I have against that one, though. It's like, if I remember when this game came out, this game was also on the worst console on the market at that time, the Xbox One. Not even it's also on the PS4.
I'm like, yeah, you're right.
It's also on the PS4 and it's on the Xbox One, like the OG Xbox One. I'm not even talking about the
honestly, when this was announced, thought that they were going to use like a hybridized version of either the Xbox and the Xbox Series S version, where they can have that with a little bit more shiny, but still have it running in a decent way. Like I say, who knows the reasoning behind it? I'm baffled by it, to be fair.
This is why I'm like, I think Switch players can't have their cake and eat it too. You can't say on the Switch 2, our console is just as powerful as the Series S and all that kind of stuff. And then like you have all these games to where there's question marks on whose fault it is when the game doesn't run well. Or you know what I mean? I mean, have your cake
the industry's kind of pointing the finger at developers, but maybe these developers just have dedicated more time and resource to that transition because they see the legs in it. CD Projekt Red saw the legs in a transition of Cyberpunk because of the success that Witcher 3 had on the platform. This is their first. Is it? No, there is a version of one of their games, isn't there? Actually, on the Switch One.
Which one are we talking about?
Is it Demon Souls? Dark Souls, one of those.
Yeah, I think
Souls,
like Dark
maybe.
Souls
Dark
3,
Souls?
maybe?
Yeah, or is it 1? A PS3 port of 1 on the Switch.
But this isn't their first game. This isn't the first game that they ported to Switch.
No.
So
how many others have they done?
So
they've definitely done at least one.
No, and even worse, they're doing an exclusive for Switch right now. They're doing the Dustbloods.
Yes.
So I'm like, they're doing the Dustbloods, which is coming out. So I'm like,
yes.
That's what I'm saying. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. Like you got to. I'm like, Switch gamers, like either your console is powerful enough to where you want to get that.
But based on that premise, how do they not have the help from the head honchos to make this inside out the best version of bloody Elden Ring you've ever seen in your life?
Exactly. But I do think whatever finger points you want to blame, you can blame FromSoft because they are doing 7 different things all the time on a lot of different things. They have their fingers in so much. It's a miracle that they haven't had any slip-ups like this, beforehand. And the game's not out yet.
Well, considering as well that their success has come from games that primarily were buried so far in a niche that no one really knew about them, and now you could almost argue that they're verging on what people accept as mainstream games. And it's like, wow, yeah, okay.
They're the standard goal points for action RPG or action games now. They're what people think about modern action games or FromSoft games now. They created a Soulsborne genre.
Yeah, that took over the world, and I am not as keen on that. It's a little bit we talked about with Fortnite. If these games had never taken off, if that IGN review had stuck, where would we be now?
I'm like you. I prefer the action games that are more third person over the shoulder driven, more God of War style, games like that. or even the Devil May Cry action game versus games that we're getting. But like Soulsborns have like infected the whole industry to the sense to where like action games are modeled after them, even if they aren't considered a Souls game. Like you look at it, you had to ask yourself over and over again: is Wulong is that actually like a Souls game? Is that actually a Souls game? Like, if you have to ask yourself,
I think you could definitely argue it's a boss chase game with a disguised gameplay stitched between.
yeah, it's like in the action genre now, you're either an Ubisoft clone, Ubisoft open world game, or you're a Souls game, and there's very little in between in that genre now. But like, very few examples of games in that AAA space that are in between that. But like, on your initial question, because like I know we've gotten off the reservoir a little bit, but like,
hey, that's what they love about our shows.
Yeah, for sure. That's our dynamic duo there. But like, it's interesting to see what the landscape is going to be like for video games, for Xbox, for Switch, on Switch 2, especially specifically with like Elden Ring and with ports. They are going to have such a hard time because like a lot of the fan base for the Switch, over, I would say over 28 and above, so 30 and above, I would say expect their games to be on that cartridge because they are by nature traditionalist gamers who are also physical. A lot of them love physical media. So I
agree. That's why I think the game cards came as a bit of a compromise. There's a red thing in the box that you put in your console in a box that you can put on your shelf. It's less egregious than the code on the box, so it might as well be.
Yeah, and a lot of those games now are going to be old ports of old games that are always going to have that question of, is this going to be a good port of that? And that's the nature of the console, the one you're playing on.
I think I'm enjoying the Switch too. I think it's a great machine, but, and I think I've said this on air, they're getting away with it at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We're 2 years away, possibly less, possibly a little bit more, away from the next iteration of PlayStation and Xbox. Do we not think the Switch 2 is going to look like the Switch 1 when they come around? It's not going to be running their games very easily, is it? No. And when we get a port, will it look like Witcher 3? Yes, it bloody well will do. And, you know, as I say, right now, we're getting away with it. Switch 2 is swinging with the big boys and just about scratching it. Like, it's also getting some of their games and not a compromised version either. Kind of the full fat, although the FPSs are dropped, maybe the resolution's down. Yeah, okay. But still the full fat. Oh, yeah. I can play on PS5. Oh, yeah. Pro. Really? Yeah.
It depends on what you consider the big games. You know, that I think that narrative fits so well with like, especially the sports games that are coming out. Like the sports games help that narrative so much.
Because I tell you what I'm pumped for, dude. I tell you, and this, I tell you what, you jump in a time machine, you go back to old George, and I tell you what, this is one hell of a new world we're living in. What platform do you think I'm thinking about buying MLB on? MLB 26. What platform?
Oh, you're going to do it on the Switch because you can take it on the go. At that point, you can take it on the go at that point. It's like that's going to be a no-brainer situation for you. It's either that or you're going to look at that portal and you're going to be like, but then you're like, but the Switch is native, and that's going to win over.
That's welcome to the logic gate of my brain. And that's exactly where I went to. I don't know, like, but can I? Like, well, okay, so now it's like the full fat version. Really, the Switch 2 is it's gonna look like the first version of the MLB on the PS5. That was acceptable.
Yeah, but you can live with that, is what you're thinking.
Oh, mate, I play it on the Vita, so trust me when I tell you this. I play it on the Switch 1 or the Switch 1 version. Trust me, I can really live with the first iteration of the PS5 version in my hand. Versus maybe a little bit more ray tracing on Matey's helmet, you know. Tani's helmet's got a little bit more ray tracing on the peak of it. Great. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter about your ray tracing.
So it's like, I think that's so interesting because like, I think the big game conversation with the Switch too is going to be interesting because like that it's trickling. I think if that was more as true as gamers want it to be, then we would see a wave of ports just ready, locked, loaded, and ready to go for a lot of the, I would say the early PS5 generation would be just like coming out every 2 weeks. We were seeing a major port, like,
Well, they went early with Stray. They did a Switch 1 port of that, and you could have thought you kept your powder dry. That could have been in a Nintendo Direct, and everyone would have gone, oh,
Yeah.
that game on Switch, that's great. Switch
Yeah.
2 graphics, that would have popped. Yeah, there's a few that I've raised an eyebrow over, dude, I have to admit. Like, why isn't that here, or why isn't that not been redone, or why didn't they wait? It's like some crazy
So since we've been talking, they announced the Fallout 4 is coming to Switch 2.
Oh, I was yes! I was hoping they would do this. If that's
So
hey, hold on, hold up there a minute. Hold on. Does that mean that we're gonna get a remastered PS5? Is this Oblivion style remake announcement, or is it literally just here's Fallout 4 as it was, which isn't a bad looking game, but it does reek a little bit of like Bethesda's Foundations. It's still very much Fallout 3 with new clothes.
Now, remind me, because I like Fallout. I'm not the expert on Fallout. Fallout already had their anniversary edition, Fallout 4, right?
Yeah, did that have all the DLC on it, probably?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, like,
In fact,
Warrior 64.
Actually, it got a update then, didn't it? It got a next-gen update then. Yes, it did, because I played it on PS5. Yeah, so if we got that version on Switch, if that's what they're saying, that would be interesting.
So the major question that a lot of people are asking based on this, the post reads Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition has officially been announced. It's coming next month, as a matter of fact, November 10th.
Yes.
So November 10th. The major question, and I think, like, unfortunately, I think this doesn't have anything to do with Switch 2. I think this is more Bethesda's fault. People are so confused right now because they're saying it's the Anniversary Edition. Anniversary Edition, it comes with the 6 expansions, which is Automatron, Far Harbor, Nuka World, Wasteland, Contraptions, and Vault Tech. And it comes with over
Workshop,
Yeah, it comes with over 150 Creation Club items, including unique weapons, armor, Pit-Boy, paint jobs, and more. Yeah. And people are asking right now, what's the difference between this and the Game of the Year edition?
Well, the Anniversary Edition has got the upgraded textures, doesn't it? The Game of the Year edition came out,
right?
Well, I guess if you put them in your PS5 or your Xbox Series X, yes, it would. But if you were to put that in the console it was originally incarnated for, like the PS4 or the Xbox One, it would be that game that originally came out with all the DLC, but with the original textures that the game launched with. I do believe maybe this Anniversary Edition is the one that you could get on PS5 that was like a download upgrade for your version of 4. I don't think it was paid, or was it? I can't quite remember.
No, this evidently there is a next-gen version already that is free for all people who own.
It's free, but I tell you what, it's quite the upgrade, dude. I'll give you that. It's quite the upgrade. It looks good. And I
think people are more questioning the DLCs, like if all the DLCs came with it or not.
I think they have to. You can't. I mean, let's look at the history. They've never done that. They've never done anything that dirty before. So, I can't imagine that saying that, though, they're still all separate, available to buy on the different marketplaces to this day. So I don't know. Will you be able to get a base version and then get the DLCs if you want them? Probably. But this sounds like this Anniversary Edition, it could be the full fat version, in which it is, I would say that would be... It's now becoming a catchphrase of mine, but what a great game to take on the go. But as my life changes and I solidify down, I can see me moving back to PS5. But...
Fallout 76 also had an announcement too, but they did not announce the Switch versions.
Yeah, I genuinely, with all kindness, would consider that ecosystem pretty much dead.
They just announced the expansion. I don't know why. Bethesda does this weird thing where like even because I understand what you're saying. Like I would say that ecosystem is like, oh, who the hell is still playing Fallout 76? I think that all the time. And then
More importantly,
also,
how are they extracting revenue, or how do they see the ability to extract this? Because No Man's okay. Let's just talk this through. They're going to charge this very small community for this extra expansion that they're bringing out, and the very small subsection of people that would buy that is even smaller. No Man's Sky produces these amazing updates and delivers them for free, and for the longest time I thought, why would you do this? It makes no sense. But then I kind of saw an article about how the groundswell of support for these generates people that don't even own the game to go buy it at full retail. And I mean full retail, which then boosts a game that's technically getting on for its 10th anniversary, which is nuts. So I guess it makes sense to do that. But
evidently the people are happy, but also wondering, why this expansion or why this game and why this game. Like I also on the Fallout 4 news, a lot of the discourse online seems to be, well, great Fallout 4, but why not Fallout New Vegas? And also, here's the question.
Well, to me, I feel like off the back of the Oblivion's success and probably halfway through the development cycle, they realise that they're onto something. And I believe that Fallout 3 and New Vegas will see that Oblivion rework, because to bring them as they are now, nostalgia's it's a wonderful drug. But I tell you what, when nostalgia meets reality, Fallout 3 will make your eyes fall out.
Yeah, New Vegas is also the same way. But a lot of people asking, or no Starfield?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. But I keep seeing that being delayed. I don't know why, and I don't know what the reason for the transition is. You would have thought that now would be the perfect time to start the hype train rumbling into the station for Christmas.
Would there be a hype train for a Starfield?
Hey, on Switch, a Game of the Year edition on Switch, per se, probably wouldn't be that ill met, but
games do also perform better on Switch, even if they're like rated badly on every other console. It's like Switch people are so happy to get like a port, even if it's like a port of a game that is like,
hey, yeah, look,
mid-tier.
Exactly, frame it up whichever way you like, but people, grown-up people with Switch, every now and then yearn for something a little bit more cerebral, and Starfield fits in so well into that sort of metric that you'd think it would be a no-brainer to have it there. I also, I can semi-see the reason for maybe holding off PlayStation for now, but Switch, where they've actually pushed some of their games that had no right being there, Grounded, Sea of Thieves, that sort of stuff.
You asked about expansion. Who's playing Grounded? How did Grounded get a second iteration? You talked about expansion. When Grounded 2 was announced, I was like, how did this happen?
I'll be honest with you, it never even felt like the original game ever came out the beta. It was in the beta, it was announced, everyone was playing it during the beta, and then when it actually came out, like, who cared? They'd already kicked the wheels out of it and seen pretty much everything it had to offer. It was semi-appealing to maybe explore the Koi Pond expansion or that kind of underwater base scenario, but yeah, nah, not really. Let's say that draws a line under the news, good friend, as we... if there's a take or opinion on the news that you think we might have missed, you want to hit us up on any of the official methods. So there's questions at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com, which is the email address. You can find us on the whatever seem to be the ever-dying social media platforms, but you can find us represented on X, and you can also find us represented on Instagram, which is probably the last hope of bastion of goodwill in the galaxy in terms of social media. Every now and then I pop on X to do some groundkeeping or caretaking of the UCP page, and I wonder quite what I'm witnessing. But you guys do whatever you do over there. All the best to you. Wow. I don't think we've bothered with any other social medias. I think I kicked RGT and said, do we need a Facebook? I probably answered my own question with that question. But there you go.
Oh, dang. One question and one thing.
Hot news.
Yeah. According to Bloomberg, Jason Schreier reported that Microsoft's 30% profit margin goal has led to game divisions, huge layoffs, canceled projects, and controversial price rises and multi-platform push. So, in other words, Microsoft has reportedly pushed Xbox Studios to deliver a 30% price margin year over year going forward.
Oh my God. If we thought the news story this year was bad, they're going to be selling.
That is crazy.
Oh my God. They're going to be selling the family silver by
There's
Christmas.
No way, like, there's no way a game like, I mean, a 30%, like a 30% margin increase, like, there's no way a lot of those studios are going to get to that.
Stand still in 2 years, that's 60% increase.
I mean, even if they were standing still, just to say like a flat 30, I'm like, there's no way a game like Keeper with Double Fine is going to hit 30% increase. Like Keeper is the game that just came out from the Psychonauts developer.
And dude, even with the Xbox Everywhere strategy, sticking it on PlayStation, Nintendo, literally your fridge, there ain't no way.
No. I don't think the Outer Worlds 2 is going to do gangbusters as far as numbers go.
I think when all's said and done, from a multi-platform standpoint, when that is done, it will have done okay. But I think it will about wash its face.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably that's a good news story for them.
Yeah, I mean, do they care about good news story? Is that going to be a 30%?
No,
30% margin increase.
I'm kind of talking from the sort of studio and the mental head space of everybody working there. I suppose, yeah, that doesn't fit the 30% gouge, does it?
Profit margin? Yeah.
No. I mean, at this rate, there's probably only going to be a guy left to turn the lights off at 5 o'clock every night because there's just nowhere for that level of increase. We don't know what metric the others are working to or whether this is part of an overall survival strategy that the big bods of Microsoft have told Xbox they need to adopt. Otherwise, there's no future in it for them. But yeah,
IGN jumped on the story as well. Evidently, it's been confirmed.
If only this show went out Sunday, we would have got that would have been read off the press. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've blurred. Oh, hey, guess what? We also have a Discord. Feel free to jump on that any place, anytime, anywhere, and just get involved. Basically, you can continue the conversation here, or do whatever you're doing. Those of you, well, and here we go. We also have a little paid section of the show where you can support us. Don't ever feel like you need to. The show will always be free. I'm probably not the best salesman, to be fair, but I'm trying. But there are different tiers of support. You can support us from as little as $3. That's correct. Not pounds, dollars. So I tell you what, for the price of what? One Greg's donut, couple of Greg's donuts.
There's a Greg donut.
You've supported the show, and you got a T-shirt out of it. When was the last time you bought a Greg's donut to get your T-shirt? It didn't happen, did it? Same token. We're moving to a 2-show platform, so we're going to deliver you for your money, not 1 show, but 2. So you're going to get your usual UCP main episode, and then you're also going to get a weekly slice of our new nostalgia show, Flashback, where we visit a month and a year in gaming from the history of gaming and bring you the news and the hot takes of that moment through the lens of the gaming media, the magazines, and the TV shows of the time. Which I'm actually really excited for, said, a new product, Flashback. Now, I don't know if you've got Discord to hand, good sir, but in the chat, in the host chat, lives a list of our fine supporters. And
Is it the same as last week?
I think it is, yes. Starts off with with the mighty Retro Ed. I'm going to go first because I feel that probably works out the best for you, I think.
Okay, sounds good.
I don't know. Have you ever done a Zangief? You've done a Zangief. Of course, you have done a Zangief. Yeah. Are you?
Anticipation's building.
Okay, so let's look at it this way. Whichever way it happens, you're getting Zangiefed. Probably all over.
Cool.
So first of all, we're going to kick off, and I'm going to say thank you to the mighty, legendary, and no doubt, like all our listeners, sculpted like a Greek statue. I don't know why I said statute, because that's a sort of it's a stub law. Stub law. God, Retrohead, what have you done to me? I'm so embarrassed. I'm just going to bow backwards, apologise for my misgivings, and say thank you, Retrohead. Up next, just so you know,
Carlos, baby.
Wow. I tell you what, it's a shame this is never going to make it to video, because that stare, honestly, I don't bat that way, but I got a rumble downstairs in the jungle. That's Carlos, aka the One Man George fan club. Up next, firm returns. If you're ever in doubt about what you want to do with your investments, and you want to make a solid investment that sees a solid yet firm return, here's your man. Look him up over on X. He's also one of our loyal supporters. Thank you very much for that. Who's next, Mighty Triple S?
I've been here before, but I experienced a lot in this city, but there was nothing quite like Trestles, because Trestles in New York is where it's at.
Finest food in Queens, baby. The absolute best. Thank you to them. They hosted us during the New York era. I get to now play with someone who is probably one of the longest supporters, most loveliest supporters, most kindest of supporters, him and his whole family, but primarily the man with the finest Dreamcast collection. Oh yeah, you've got more games. You may well have. But do you display him as well as Roast Space Monk? Because I tell you what, class and elegance, you can't buy. But it's priceless. And Roast Space Monk's got it in spades. I don't know if you know this, but there's a pre-qualifier when you do the next guy.
Okay,
you got to do it in an Italian accent,
like Mario Italian or like real Italian.
Listen, mate. Much like me, you're an actor. This whole podcast is basically a fake. We are actors pretending to be these people. I don't mean to break the fourth wall too often, but it is true. My real acting voice, darling, this is me, but I play the character of George. Give me your best Italian.
Bada pink star.
I didn't see that coming, especially not like that, but I loved it. Up next, a man who needs no introduction. I talked before about Roast Space Monk having the most eloquent of elegance, but the excellence of execution is certainly Tingle Tuna.
Digital Monkery.
Now, Digital Monkery is one of those people you don't you don't want to run the wrong side of, because he's one of the Discord sheriffs, as you know, and he'll have your legs out. So just keep it civil. Well, go crazy, but you'll know when you've took it too far when he appears in your DMs. DMs in your DMs, baby. Which means I get to now this gentleman, Bull Border. We've been getting a hell of a lot of interest in Brazil. True story, this. You're going to like this. So we sent our agent, Bull Border, out there to further the cause. He went brandished with T-shirts. He went brandished with flyers. And he's been walking around the streets of Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, handing these things out and building quite the loyal Brazilian following. Now, I don't know if RGT got the memo. I think he's a bit confused because he said to me, I'm a big fan of the Brazilian, but I think we're probably talking about different things. So thank you to Bull Border for your efforts over there, and to everyone out there, new listeners and the supporters of the great show that is this. You're very kind. Thank you very much. This next guy, you got to say, going brown in a kind of military style.
Going brown.
Ooh, that was actually really good. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that was that. Do you know what? I almost felt.
Did that take you off guard?
Yeah, I felt like that. I felt honestly like I was Aloy. I was sort of climbing a long neck, and all of a sudden silence comes on. And it's like going brown. I'm like, yeah, this is great.
I've only played one Metal Gear Solid voice, but a Metal Gear Solid game. But I was trying to I was like, how would that work in that universe? And then that's kind of what I was channeling there.
Yeah, well, either which way, I think that's beautiful. Up next, a young man that I would love to say was my progeny, but he's not. And I tell you what, most people would say a red-headed stepson is the last thing they wanted, but it was the first thing I ever wanted. It's Ginge, the most statuesque. He's got more platinums now than I think, quite frankly, anyone. But, you know, I haven't seen a top 10 in a wee while. I'm sure our good loyal friend Bobby, bless you, Bobby and Eva, he's up there. But Ginger's, I tell you what, if you cut him in half, he'd be made up of platinums.
And next up, we have Harvey of the future. No, we don't have Harvey of the future. Do we have Harvey of the present? No, neither of the present. We have the greatest Harvey of them all, Harvey Retro.
You don't know it, but that was possibly the best Harvey Retro he's ever had on this show. I've never thought about taking it down that road, but let me tell you now, that was pure genius. Someone else who has been out, I think, down your neck of the woods in Texas, handing out UCP flyers and a UCP shirt. We've got the what are they called here? It's a very religious show this today. What is it called? The people that you send out, you know, your messengers,
like the disciples.
Yeah, the disciples. Yeah, so we've got
acolytes.
We'll call them acolytes because it's slightly less infringing on people's religious beliefs. We send the acolytes out all over the world now. Brazil, we've got acolytes now in the good old US of A. We're going places. Might be the year where I can finally just retire and do the show full time. That's the
dream.
We would need another 200 names on this list.
Yeah.
But we're not, you know, we're getting there one at a time. I'm very grateful for every single one of you. So that's Emma Sharp. Thank you for going out to the United States, doing the right thing, and the good thing and the kind thing. Who's next?
Well, sometimes people like to go here. They like to go there. But they never go nowhere near Berlin.
I love it. So you've never been away. Up next, a woman very dear to our hearts. She's my mumsy. She's Seb's mumsy. She's everybody's mumsy. It's Mumsy. Thank you, Mumsy.
And next up, we have one person who I didn't know that I needed to experience what is the sensation that is this man's fan club. But once I got a taste, I think I became a member of the flock. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the RGT fan club.
The thing is, do you have those crisps over there, like little puff balls, like Weetos, but done in a ball, and they're called
Y'all have Weetos? Y'all have called Cheetos over there?
Cheetos, yeah, whatever. We call them
okay, gotcha.
Wossits. Yeah, I don't know why, but anyway, so you have your weird Cheetos. And it's
that's
like,
the weird one?
Yeah, it's made of the texture of a Cheeto, but it's in a ball about the size of, I don't know, slightly smaller than a golf ball. And they're called Burger Bites, and they've got this burger flavouring on them. Now, in the world of hot snacks, left, right, and Chelsea, where everywhere's a grab share bag and every cup size is large to go, baby, do you have this delicacy, this little this chip snack, as you would call it? We call it a crisp, but you would call it a chip. But it's like potato froth formed into a ball, but not covered with cheese flavouring this time, Seb. Covered with a nondescript burger flavouring.
We do not. I don't think we have burger flavored chips of any sort. At least I'm not chips expert, but I don't remember any burger flavored chips.
Okay, because that's the reason why I went down this what seemingly now bizarre sub journey of the supporters list is because you said that you'd had a taste of RGT, and if you weren't sure because you've never experienced it, that taste is Burger Bites.
Oh, huh. And so when I look at RGT now, I can think of like a sensation of burger flavors.
Yeah, a very cheap burger flavour. One that probably only tastes like burger because the front of the bag tells you it is. If that had been if that had been supplied to you in a white paper bag, you wouldn't know what it was.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Orange is gonna hear this and be like, "Man, that's me right there." Either that, or he's gonna be like, "Oh, guys, oh no, oh no."
I think he's going to be sat down, sort of nodding his head, rocking backwards and forwards a little bit, sort of knowing that he does taste the burger bites, but also knowing that no one really knows what burger bites taste of, and therefore knowing that he doesn't know who he is now. He thought he was.
You think this will make him your mumsy?
Will this make him yum mumsy or?
Yeah, mumsy, like mumsy.
Oh, will it make him yell it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the sort of thing that's going to rock him to his core. It's the sort of thing that's either going to cause him to have a stroke or a breakdown. Yeah, absolutely. Pete Brocklehurst, a man who plays keepy uppies with Atlas balls. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh no, well you're getting him either way, so that's good news.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll take Billy Marmite, and that means you get the. But before you deliver it, there's a new way now.
Oh no.
I want to imagine this is your first ever Zangief. You're exploring yourself, and you stumble across yourself.
Oh.
But it's a little bit of a strange awakening, and after a little bit of a sort of confusing stumble about, you fat Zangief all over yourself. And that's the kind of, if I was Scorsese now, I'd say that's where I want this to go, and action.
Discover myself. Oh, fair,
That was bizarrely exactly what I did.
Is that the direction?
And cut. Perfect. That's why you're a pro, Triple S.
Okay, gotcha.
You take direction, you interpret it, and you perform it better than anybody else in the business. So, as always, full power to you. Now, thank you to everybody that supports the show. We couldn't be here without you, and certainly we couldn't do courageous things like bringing out new content. I see. Can you believe? I thought we might be able to blend the shows and share the bills between them in terms of our platform allowing us. I want to and will launch Flashback as its own separate channel so it can find its own audience and then the two can cross-pollinate between each other. But for Buzzsprout to allow that, I need to set up a whole new show. I need to pay for all the add-ons separately.
What?
I can't piggyback on Magic Mastering. I can't piggyback on forever holding the audio. I can't piggyback on the AI transcriptions. I can't piggyback on the AI chapterization or any of the good stuff that they've got going on over there, which I'm a big fan of. And it leaves me looking a little bit sort of like, wow, okay, guys, so probably this show is probably in the top tier of their more successful elements of what they have going on there. And we want to launch a separate channel, but you don't think, oh, that's a good thing. I guess they're on a 30% price gouge as well. They think, oh, wow, more lamb to the slaughter. Look at this guy trying to run I guess what we're trying to do, I suppose, is run something a lot bigger than they ever probably envisaged that it was for. And maybe they have been actually quite good, so I might engage with them to see if we can sort of wash all the bills together, but I just don't think they've got the functionality for it, which is a shame. But that's what the support's for. We're not going to be nothing's holding us back from bringing you extra content. So instead of just one episode a week, you're going to get two: a slice of retro and a slice of now.
For the people who aren't aware of what your ramblings are talking about, give them the pitch. What is Flashpoint?
Oh, okay. Flashback,
or Flashback, sorry.
Yeah, let's hope everyone's
if you don't know about this, guys, you need to get on board, especially Brazilian listeners, because there's going to be lots of Sega news in there. So what Flashback is basically is we're going to take through the lens of various physical gaming media and magazines from the time, use that as a snapshot to actually report the news as if it was that day, the 5th of January 2005. And we're going to talk through that, the top 10s of the games. We're going to probably review a couple of games, quick snapshots from that era, wash and go. And the next episode will be March 8th, 1997. Rinse, repeat, go through the magazines. We much like the main show, we select up the information and we present it back. And we're very excited for this because we did a pilot. It went down tremendously well. We want to launch it as a separate platform so people can have 2 bits of extra content. We've seen that a lot of listeners like the retro, and we see it being as a big audience. And we think we've got quite an interesting take on it. No one else is doing what we're going to do. So I think from a listenership point of view, it's going to be very well received. So I would say we're excited, but it's gone beyond that. I think I'm ready to Zangief fall over Flashback like like the 1,000th man at Bonnie Blue.
Oh.
What are you hoping to play?
Man, sometimes, with the cultural differences between America and the UK, I feel like what Captain America feels like whenever wherever he was thawed out of the ice and he's trying to learn about like all the pop culture references in the Avengers and such like that, like he missed over the past like 60 years.
Listen, whatever you do, unless you want to spend all Sunday with the pastor, do not Google Bonnie Blue.
Okay. All right, good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Do not do that. Please, no. So what are you hoping to play, good sir?
So what am I hoping to play? I've just got a code for a game that I'm hoping to actually dive into. You are kind of middle on the like keeping your eyes your eyes and ears to the ground when it comes to indies. So I feel like I'll
be honest, mate. I thought this show had gone so perfectly well to this point. You were going to turn around and say you've got a code for PS5 Pax Anno. No, that new. Do you know Anno's getting a new game next month?
I actually played it.
Oh, you devil!
I actually played it. You're talking about the Roman Empire. You talking about the Roman Empire?
Pax Romana, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why I said you would be a good PC person because you get to play all these things early, just in general.
I know. I've got a dusty old Mac, and then everything else I've got brand new, hot cutting edges console, and I just don't know if I can sync. And you listen.
Uh-huh.
We'll talk in the universal dollars, right, for the moment here.
Yeah, for sure.
But would a 600 gaming PC be enough for me, or would I need to be then messing around with the settings? Yes, I would. Okay. So is a £1,200 gaming PC enough for me? No. It's not, is it? So hang on. If that's not enough, is $2,000 going to scratch that itch? Are you going to be happy with that performance?
I think you would, because like you said yourself that you're not like. You're not big in ray tracing.
Listen, but you
can pick and choose the things you want to build around.
But if I'm walking in the door to the PC, I don't know at this point whether this was said off air or on air, but if I am the arising Anakin, aka Lord Vader, I am not coming out riding a 286 running DOS. I'm coming out of this. I am carrying like I don't know what the latest graphics card is. I've got
for sure. I understand.
I've got a motherboard that looks like it's dripped in gold. I've got maybe the towers. I don't know, a gateway PC from 1997, but everything inside it. It's a bit like a sleeper build. It's a Falcon. It's a Millennium Falcon, but inside it, this thing could rip the skin off the universe, basically.
I think outside of just to be fair, like outside of your graphics card and then your actual CPU, like everything you can find is like you choose your own adventure. Like if you want to, you can buy a lot of the other parts for like $40 a piece.
Let's say I walk in and I just say no. I just want the best of everything. I want absolutely zero compromise on PC. I want to be able to run the game, every game, for the next 4 years at the very, very, very best it could ever look. Is
I would
$2,000 going to
say,
do that job?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Like, honestly speaking, like, I think 1200 could do a lot of what you want.
Hang on a minute then. Arise, Lord Vader.
I was like, honestly speaking,
Where is PlayStation? You killed it. I wouldn't. No.
honestly speaking, if you're not sold on ray tracing and such like that, you can get a lot of what you want for 800 at the point.
Hang on a minute.
I mean,
wait.
that's what I'm saying. It's
I'm
not
going to blow
actually
800 quid. I'm going to blow 800 quid on a machine that's not even as powerful as a Pro. And it's the same price as a Pro.
Honestly, like, I would say it's probably going to be more powerful FPS wise than a Pro, less powerful ray tracing than a Pro. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're compromising what you feel like is a compromise. Is that really a compromise to you? Hang on. At $800,
I see you Palpatine like now trying to raise me Vader. You want this Vader? You want this Vader to rise? I need to ask you, what is this code that you've got? Because everyone sat on the edge of their seat going,
"My bad.
Seb said he had a code." No, I believe it was my bad. I believe it was my bad. But, yeah.
Oh, by the way, Anno Pax Roma.
Oh yes,
Roma,
please give me this.
Really fun. I like it. It fits my era of what I actually like. Because I love city builders. Like, I love a city builder a lot.
Mate, you would love Anno. Only because I liked it. Did you steer off it? But you would love it.
No. It's like, I think the combat elements and the RTS elements are kind of what I've been missing from Civilization.
Now, question: was there on land? What slice of Anno did you get to play at whatever event or code? And
it's the Steam Next Fest. It was Steam Next Fest,
right? So did you get to experience? Because I thought the combat was all ship based.
It is. That's exactly what I'm alluding to. But there's a lot of portion that's actually in the water. As far as like in the demo, the early stages of the demo. But like,
I just think that's part of Anno. I think that's what it is.
But it teaches you a lot about like the there's a governing aspect about it with the economic aspects to it. There's diplomatic aspects. Of course, it's Rome, so you have the military might there. You have to. I liked how intricate and detailed all the landscapes and all the like different like landmarks looked. Like, they have a little part that looks like Stonehenge kind of like settings. And kind of like that, and I felt like that looks pretty cool. I think like the ships kind of reminded me a lot more intricate fashion of like what I liked about Assassin's Creed, not Valhalla, the one before Odyssey. What I liked about Odyssey and such like that. But like, I feel like if I like City Skylines a lot, that's probably my favorite city builder. But this is like taking a lot of what I liked about City Skylines 1 and 2 and really putting on that, I guess you could say, that time period skin on it, and I think that's a great thing. I
don't think the difference between them is I don't think you can make them as like they look pretty. Anno games do look pretty, but you can't make it as aesthetically pleasing thing of your own as you can in City Skylines, which is so sculptable compared.
It really is. It really is.
Anno's really working on a very much like a tile system in a way. When you played it, it's very gritty.
Yeah. It is gritty, and I think my favorite parts of the demo were the parts where I got to explore the Roman governor side of the fence, and that to me was like seeing some of the diplomatic aspects, and then that coming into play. There is a little bit, from my understanding, I think there is a little bit of like matching armies on land. I didn't get to that in the demo though.
Yeah, I've not seen any of that talked about, so I'm quite interested because obviously in Anno, I wish there was on land combat, but there wasn't, and I assumed there wasn't going to be any in this. So I don't know whether it's like you just have to have a certain amount of troops garrisoned and that counts or not.
in the demo part when you're loading up the game, there is a grayed out tutorial. You know how you go to like the right side of the screen and you see like the tutorial codex and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's on the right side on this one. But yeah, there was a part where they talked about land battles and army battles.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure. We didn't get to that in the demo. It was more focused on like just generally laying out things, the water battles and the Colosseum.
Mm.
And then the governance part. So demo was meaty. I think I played about 2 hours. So, but it's not bad. To me, I like
That's
it.
a good chunk.
That is a really good chunk. It is a really good chunk. The game I was alluding to earlier that I can't wait to play later on this week is Dispatch.
Yes.
It's like the superhero Telltale type of game.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
I thought it was going to be something else from what you just said. So I was like, oh, hang on a minute, this could be in my wheelhouse. But it turns out that it's something else completely. So yeah, give me the gen on this. This is hot take.
Okay, so Dispatch is like a superhero workplace comedy. So like it is. It is. It's like a superhero workplace comedy. It's almost like The Office and Parks and Rec meets like superheroes. So the main like I would say,
is it more like? Would you say then it's more like Star Trek's Below Decks?
I would say it's more like a mixture between Below Decks meets like Telltale or The Walking Dead, because there are real hard hitting moments evidently like
so it's like The Boys. It's like a soft version of The Boys.
Yeah, in a way that's a very good comparison to where like imagine if like The Boys had like that comic book, almost like that Hi-Fi Rush art style, like that type of art style, like a soft comedy and like soft cartoon art style, but then like it hits you hard with like there are alerts that pop up on the map, and in each alert you have a superhero, a league of superheroes, and you're the dispatch officer, and you have to like manage office politics. You have to manage their personal relationships. You have to manage like they're also like choosing the right person to send to a SOS call is like important as well, because like certain heroes that you send have certain, strengths and weaknesses. Then they also have certain phobias and all that kind of stuff.
Do you deploy them in what's that other game you've been playing that I keep meaning to grab on Switch? I kind of like the idea of it. You played another superhero XCOM style game. Was it Suits? No, it's not Suits.
Oh yeah.
Is it Suits?
No, dang, it was been so long ago.
The Capes?
Yes, it's Capes, yeah.
Is it? Do you deploy them like Capes or
no?
Is
Capes is more like
XCOM?
Capes. I would say is more like XCOM. This is more like Telltale: The Walking Dead, to where like.
But when you send these different heroes out, do you send them out in a Cape style, or is it more like you sent Brian to go find supplies style Walking Dead? Is that what it's more like?
It's more like that. You're sending like you're seeing on your screen what a 911 person would see of like, oh, I got a 911 call. I could send let's just call her Devil. I could send Devil out to a 911 dispatch where a supervillain that is made out of water is messing up things. Devil's proficient in fire. She has this chance of like really making an impact here, or she has this chance of really failing here. Also, Devils has this phobia of people like seeing her in public. So I'm like, I have to manage that as well. So I'm like, also, do I send Devil and Khalees out there? Oh no, they both are fighting because they like in real time, because there's a overarching story in real time. They're fighting over a boy right now, or they're fighting over a guy.
Okay.
No. Yeah, so I'm like, it's like a Telltale choose your own adventure style, but then like you play as Robert Robinson, who used to be Mecha Man, and he kind of has like he really had this like really cool bad merc suit, and the merc suit got destroyed, and so you take a job after your superhero career went to a nosedive as not as a hero but as a dispatcher. You're in charge of rehabilitating like supervillains. So a lot of the people you have is like you are on the supervillain division, and you're trying to like manage the superheroes you're in charge of and the super villains that you're trying to rehabilitate, and you're trying to.
This is a great premise.
Oh my goodness!
I tell you what, it's got shades of like something like Papers, Please. It's got shades of Capes. It's got shades of, as you say, Telltale. I like the sound of this. I think this could be like a fun. I wish it probably. I think from what you're saying, it doesn't have the sort of deeper management layer. It actually evolves as a storytelling mechanic rather than a sort of rocks, paper, scissors, stones type mechanic. But I'm still quite interested by it, and I find
there is like mini games in it too. There are slight mini games, but it's not as deep as I would probably say like real time combat elements. There's not a whole lot of that. It's more like you are trying to manage relationships, manage people in situations that pop up.
I kind of think it would be. This game could succeed just as like this almost like green screen thing. Almost you don't even need the flashy graphics, and you're just running it like a call handler, where it comes in like accident between 6th and 9th Avenue, and like, oh right, okay, and then dispatch, as you say, devil, and then it comes back up like, oh, not report from the police officer on the scene. Sending devil's not the greatest idea. She's just flamed like 6 police officers and done this, that, and the other. Okay, I'll send fire pole. I don't know what else to do.
And it is a lot like that. Like what was the game? I think you and I both played it this summer, where you're it almost was like a policeman simulator.
RGT played it. Yeah, Precinct.
Precinct. It's a lot like Precinct, except like instead of you being on the world and actually it being like a Grand Theft Auto style, you're seeing a lot of the real time combat elements, and I use combat in quotes. When you're not doing like the narrative of like building relationships with people, you have like this overlaying map, and you can see the entire city in that map, and you can see like when the calls come in, you can see where like incidents are happening on this 3D grid map that you are looking top down on.
That's
and
cool.
On that, and on that top down map.
I guess that's what on Steam Deck.
It's on. I know it's coming for Steam, but it's also I think going to be on all platforms. Let me make sure. I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Is that mainly what you're going to focus on?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's probably what I'm going to focus on. I love the characters so far from what I got to see on that, and is that
out now or coming out soon?
Yeah, it's out. Today's the 23rd. It was out yesterday. It's late last night yesterday.
Wow!
So
always hot off the press.
Oh, it's PS5. It's PS5 as well.
What now? As we speak, right now.
I think so. Let me make sure, because Google says it's out on PS5 and Windows right now, but let me check.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I'm going to let you know what I'm hoping to play. So I'm going to dive more into the PS3. There's some games I didn't touch on. Rage, played a little bit of Little Big Planet. Played some Transformers War for Cybertron, always a favourite. Played a little bit of Castlevania Lords of the Damned or something like that. Equally enjoyed that. I know, absolute bangers. I look back, we played a little bit of Saboteur. We played Infamous 2, and that stuck, so we played that all the way through. Rage kind of stuck, but the loop is awful.
Okay.
Definitely now as well. That it's kind of okay. The story's okay, but now as the story broadens out, it goes from Mad Max more into the Rage universe, and what a weird universe that is. The sequel attests.
Yeah, for sure.
The sequel attests to that. My good God, it was like all the Gordy elements dialed up to 11, and I just want to see the Gordy elements dialed down to maybe 1. But anyway, so there's a bit of that, and there'll be some more of that. I keep pushing on with a playthrough when we're here of Death Stranding 1 as like a reminder for the story for us both before we dive into 2, which we're really excited about. But we've dabbled in this previous, obviously I finished it and dabbled in it many, many times. So this is just a rough, quick, dirty playthrough to get the story done. Because it's one hell of a story, and I don't want to go into 2 and miss a single... I don't want to miss a single reference at all. I want to go in fully deeped on it. So that's why I'm taking me time. We'll get to it when we get to it. Don't worry, listeners. I'll tell you what I think.
It's going to tell you.
I'll tell you. It's worth the wait. We'll do it properly. And that'll be it from. Oh, tell a lie. Once we complete this, I'm going to go in and dominate the television space and start the new breach expedition on No Man's Sky, because they
You're
saw.
hooked.
They saw that I'd probably got cured and thought, well, hang on, why is Georgie Boy not playing? And then gone, I see, has he collected everything? You still don't have the platinum, but he's got everything. I was looking into this. I need to do much like Gaming Graham did. I just need to land on a planet and probably leave it on to get the trophy or whatever it's called, achievement.
That's crazy. And then go play your Switch while it's on.
Yeah, basically, that's what I probably plan on doing. So there'll be a little bit of that. You had a little snippet more for us?
Yeah, for sure. I'll be playing 3 other games, and I'll just run through them really fast. Furthest Frontier is the one I'm also going to be playing. It is Furthest Frontier is Anno, but it is Anno that is in like the old and middle age times, and it is you protecting God. I'm playing. I've become more of a PC gamer this year, so I know it's on PC. I do not know if that one's on console. To answer your question. Oh, but I think this game is going to sing on console because it has like control. I'm playing this on controller, so I'm like, I know it's not far from a console port. With that said, though, it just came out yesterday, or it came out today, and you're basically harvesting materials. You're hunting, fishing, farming, surviving, and then you have like bandits. You have other kingdoms, and you're trying to build your little village into a huge kingdom.
A realistic art style, or like a cartoony artistic take on an art style?
I would say it's a mixture between Anno and I would probably say a mixture of Anno with a little bit of a cartoony overlay, but I think it's more like I'd probably say it's more leans towards the realistic side of the fence.
Okay, and what else?
Yeah. I am going to be playing a game that I don't necessarily know if it's going to be in your wheelhouse or not, but it's another superhero game. It is a Marvel's Cosmic Adventure like game. It is the Marvel beat 'em up game.
What's that called?
Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I've heard about it. What's it called?
Give me 1 second. Marvel Cosmic Invasion.
Yeah. You're going to be on that?
Yeah, I'm going to be on that a little bit. And then I'm going to be on Dispatch that I told you about. And then the last one that I'm going to be playing, and it is a weird game that I'm not really a fan of the actual IP. So that's a little weird. I'm going to be playing the Star Trek demo for the new game that's coming out. It is almost like a Civilization version where you are managing your Starfleet ship. And you have to kind of rearrange everything and try to make that work. And I like sci-fi a lot, and I've never gotten into Star Trek. I've always been a Star Wars kind of guy. And for some reason, like this game looks like it might sing to me outside of Hades 2, because Hades 2 is the game I'm always going to be playing.
What do you have to do in this Star Trek game? Is it like you're managing the ship from outside, or are you managing like a side section of the ship, or are you managing like it from a third person point of view?
The game is called Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. So basically it is...
Yes, I've seen this actually, yes.
Yeah. So it is, you take the helm, you manage the ship, the resources, and all that kind of stuff, and you're trying to bring the ship home and its crew home. And so it is almost like you are going through space, you are trying to navigate through tough decisions, as well as trying to manage the internal fleets and keep them like happy, under control, and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of feels Telltale-ish, but it also, like, because it is very story driven, but it also has like survival and survival elements where you're trying to like manage resources and all that kind of stuff. So outside of Hades 2, because I think Hades 2 is the game I'm like, I cannot not play Hades 2 at this point. So like those are the kind of the games I'm going to be trying to juggle. But I looked the game up.
That Star Trek game, just to go back to that, I mean, it does look quite good. I've seen little bits of footage across it on like YouTube Shorts and things like that, and kind of seen how the gameplay plays out, and thought, well, it's not my cup of tea, but I assumed just off the gameplay shots that shared, and this is a disappointing that it looks like it looked like a spin-off to me of those sort of mobile captain ports you see landed across all.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, well, not another one. And with the Voyager franchise, like, why? But now I feel that might impact its ability to penetrate the wider masses, but reading a bit more about it, it's actually kind of interesting to me. I see it's had a little bit of a hard time in some of the previews, but
yeah,
if you're not a Trek fan, then it would seem strange. It seems like a bit of a survival, I don't want to say a roguelike, but definitely it looks like a bit of a grind, one you'd have to commit to. But it'd be interesting to see how the Star Trek franchise works.
I want to see it make it. I want to see Star Trek get a win, even though I'm not a fan of the IP. It's like I want IPs like that to flourish because I want that fan base to be happy, and I also think like if that game flourishes, other like IPs like that will also get a chance.
I think this is way off topic, but let's go here. When they brought out Star Trek Bridge Simulator for VR and then made a flat screen version as well, there's elements in there where you could play it in like a procedurally generated way where you could just continue to meet up with your mates and do mission after mission after mission. I think if you could get the ship as a 3D explorable space, have your character... Now, I would verge towards having this as a single player experience rather than multiplayer. 'Cause if your mate's not online this week, then there's no one man in engineering, and that's going to do your head in, right? So let's have a single player experience, but with reasonably intelligent NPCs as well that you form relationships along the way. And then it could just be procedurally generated where you're on like a 5-year mission, and it's like, okay, go this planet. Got to do this, got to do that, got to do the other. Okay, beam up, beam down, pick your people for the away team. A little bit of phase run in third person, great. A little bit of diplomacy as well, very interesting. Back up, do this, do that, do the other. Bit of space combat, but seen through the lens of the captain sat in his chair, not the exterior of the ship. It might work for gameplay elements, great. It might look good, it might give you that sort of fast gameplay. But no, Star Trek's about talking. Star Trek's about taking it slow. Star Trek's about lining up for a photon release. It's more like 18th century battleships wheeling across a Caribbean Sea than it is about, fighter jets engaging at Mach 6 on each other. It doesn't work like that. That's not Star Trek logic. So this game could be perfect. I hope it works out because we need more Star Trek games like that and less mobile to just
throwaway games.
Microtransaction drivel. It's 24,000 golden points for Kirk. Well, everyone's going to try and get that, aren't they? And look out, you can buy a set for $79.99 on the iOS marketplace. Oh, great, I'll get 7,000 Starfleet dollars. What's the point in it all? Absolute nonsense.
We got one more.
Okay.
No. The last update I'll give you, because you asked the question earlier. Dispatch available right now on PS5.
Oh, hold up, Mumsy. Don't put the No Man's Sky simulator down. Start building me a call center. Do it now. I don't care. You've got no sellotape. Make it work. Okay, perfect. I would say, first of all, thank you so much for rejoining us after your PTSD session, post-pasta. You popped in and out, but, I think it really hit you hard once the dust has settled and the smoke had cleared. But, absolutely great to have you back on, the insights and everything. It's good to know that the codes are still working out and that you live in the lifestyle we all want to lead on the show. One of us has got to be the rock star, and it's you, Triple S. So thank you for coming and joining us today. We've had a great time. I've had a great time, and I know everyone listening has had a great time. And I think, well, first of all, let's let people know exactly if they've gone. I've never listened to the UCP before, but I like the sound of this Seb character. They can get more of you. Let them know exactly where, when, and how that can happen.
Everybody, check me out Mondays and Thursdays. It is the Single Player Experience Podcast, the premier podcast for single player gamers to find out about good single player games that you should be playing. You want to know about the hottest indies? I got your back. You want to know about the games that you should be playing in the space, whether or not you should skip it? That you want to know what the Metacritic is on a weird game like The Outer Worlds 2? Let me tell you. Also, you want to know about a game that you probably didn't know you need to be playing that you absolutely should be playing and why you should be playing that game? I got your back. Ladies and gentlemen, check out the Single Player Experience, the premier podcast, where you can find out about all the dope games in the single player space that you have to check out. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Sebastian Malden. I'm out.
That's why it's Triple S, ladies and gentlemen. Mic drop moments. Absolutely. And when he's not there, he's here. Absolutely wonderful gentleman. His insights and his takes on the business are absolutely fantastic. This hand reaches so far into the indie space. He's getting codes for games that the developers have yet to pitch to themselves. That's where this kid's operating, right on the cutting edge of where future is. I don't know what it means. I just nod and smile and hope the cool kids think I'm with him. Anyway, either which way, thank you so much, Seb. Thank you to everyone for listening. That's all we have time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you for your time. We look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. And remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, Triple S.
Hey, bye, everyone.